Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's that special time of year again where we peel back the curtain, I take off the condom, and I answer your most asked questions of the year through Twitch chat, through email, and YouTube comments. I just kind of make a mental list of the most asked questions. So let's start with the first one. Do you still play Recorder? You tell me. How tall am I? I'm 5'6", the optimal male height. It's what God envisioned for our species. Anything above 5'6", it just seems silly to me. Why would you want to be taller than the golden height? It's the height. I fucking hate being short. Here's one that I absolutely hate, but I have to acknowledge because it truly is probably one of the top 3 most asked questions of the year. What is your favorite meme? Fucking hate meme and meme culture. I think it's all just super god awful and lazy. I just don't even understand the point of memes anymore. They're not even entertaining. They don't even get like an exhale from the nostril anymore. They just seem fucking silly. Odd flex, but okay. And god fucking meme. I hate that shit, but I have to acknowledge it because I answer the most asked questions every year. So what is your favorite meme? The only meme that I appreciate in any capacity is the oppressed gamer meme. I've answered this multiple times and even made a video answering it again, and yet I'm still getting emails about it, so I'm going to answer it yet again. Where do you stream now, since you haven't streamed on YouTube in a while? I stream on Twitch now. But wait, I thought you fucking hated Twitch. Yeah, I had a lot of problems with Twitch, the majority of which they've been actively improving on. Meanwhile, YouTube is devolving and fucking its own ass in all possible aspects. So I do all my streaming on Twitch now. See, even Tetra's tired of this fucking question. Listen to that. So yes, I stream on Twitch now. No, I don't hate it anymore. It's a lot better than YouTube streaming. Again, I will post a link to my Twitch in the description of this video. Next big question I always get asked, and this one I get asked all the fucking time, and again, this is one that I've answered before. What is your favorite type of porn? Lesbian porn. I'm a man of exquisite taste. What can I say? Lesbian porn offers by far some of the best in the business. It's hard to dispute that fact. Yeah, you can have like your weird kinky fetishes where there's something with like rubber squeaky toys being shoved in the buttholes and whatever. But on the whole, and I'm not talking on the asshole, on like the general statement, lesbian porn in my opinion is the best that gets made. Next big question, is there going to be more wetwear, new wetwear selections? Yes, there is. And there is right now actually. There's hoodies and shit. There's a lot of new wetwear available, so if you do want to get wetwear, I'll put a link to that in the description as well if you want to check that out. Do you edit your own videos? For the most part, I edit all of my own shit, which is why it all looks like 2008 era shit, because I'm a really bad editor. I don't have a special effects degree. I'm not in contact with Marvel Studios effects team or anything, so it's pretty bare bones, just syncing, trimming, and then putting it together. It's about it. However, the podcast gets edited by Jackson, and the Moist Meter also gets edited by Jackson, which is why the two of those have a bit more production value and don't look like some middle schooler's portfolio or first time with Windows Movie Maker. I forgot to mention this one when talking about Twitch. This is one that I'm asked probably more than anything else. This, I would say, is the most frequent question of the year for me. Will you be playing and or streaming huge name game coming out soon? Yes, I will most likely be playing and or streaming the huge game that you have just asked me about. I've got G Fuel in the veins. What can I say? I'm a hardcore, elite, top-tier gamer, barbarian, assassin, guru. I play the majority of new games that come out. I always have. I stream a lot of them too. Maybe not all of them, but I do, for the most part, play the majority of the new games. So yes, I will probably be checking that out. What advice would I give to a college kid? I don't know why I'm always turned to for advice when dealing with college matters and the social aspect of college, especially after I already made the video talking about how I spent an entire year of my college life, my freshman year, pretending to be an anime mysterious guy who was one step shy of having his nipples pierced and wearing assless chaps to appear different and unique. I don't know why people would turn to me for the social aspect of advice in college, but regardless, the advice I would always give someone is don't be weird. Don't be weird. Now don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not telling you not to be yourself or to just be like some carbon copy clone of every other fucking douchebag in college. I'm saying don't come on too strong and fire on all fucking cylinders. Go in there full mast, full erection, blood pouring to your throbbing member, you know, gloating about your favorite hentai to someone you're just meeting for the first time. ease your way into someone's life, find commonalities, common grounds, small talk, and then, go from there. Just, I guess it's less of don't be weird and more of don't be so overbearing. Well, I guess just don't be weird. I still think that's the best fucking advice. Don't be weird when you're first starting to meet people or trying to carve out your own identity in a new space. This is one I don't really understand, but I'm always asked, are you ever going to do more of the Reel series, Reel videos? And I don't get that because it's not like I ever stopped. I just don't call them the Reel and then product name. They're just infomercial dubs. The only reason I ever called it the Reel series is because I was too fucking lazy to individually name those videos. But now I name them. Nothing has changed. I still make those. I just don't call them the Reel because it's a stupid fucking name, really. Why are you afraid of flying? As most of you know, I'm afraid of flying. Why am I afraid of flying? Well, it's fucking scary to me. The thought that if something does go wrong and it can't really be fixed in the air by the pilots or anything, I'm super fucked. There's not a whole lot I can do in that scenario to help myself. My seat can be used as a flotation device? Oh, fantastic. That's splendid. I'll make sure to cry into that as the plane fucking explodes. Oh, an oxygen mask, huh? Oh, great. I can stay conscious a little while longer as the plane fucking nosedives so that I can continue to see it coming. Fantastic. There's just not... It's the lack of control should something go wrong and the lack of anything else to prevent it. Like, I'm helpless in that scenario. I can't, like, hop onto the wing of the plane and then, like, take, like, a fucking master key to it and start turning gears or a wrench to it and start fixing shit. I'm fucked. It's over at that point, and I hate that thought. Just having it be entirely in someone else's hands, and should it go wrong, being completely powerless to try and fix it. And it also being 100% fatal should it go wrong. It's fucking scary. Flying is scary. You're insane if you fly. You're a fucking mad lad if you fly. I respect you. I respect that a lot. I can't do it. It's fucking scary. I've done it like 10 or so times, and it's fucking terrifying every time. Another big question that I get asked every year: why is my YouTube channel Penguins? Would I call myself Critical or Charlie? The channel's 12 years old-ish. I made it when I was very young. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it, so I just called it Penguins because I like penguins. I still like penguins. And then it was Critical because that was my Xbox Live gamer tag. Well, I changed my Xbox Live gamer tag to that, and I like the sound of it, so I went by that as well. And then Charlie's my actual name. So I got a lot of fucking aliases out here. I'll answer one more big one. Why did you give blank this score on the Moist Meter? It's truly the best thing humanity's ever made. How could you possibly think it was anything under 100%? The Moist Meter fucking sucks. You fucking suck. Fuck you. Well, I gave it that score because I thought that's the score it deserved. That's typically the story behind it. There's no, like, hidden meaning behind it. I just kind of try to grade it objectively speaking, or I guess you can never really be fully objective with things. You're always going to have your own personal biases in there, I suppose, but I do my best to keep it objective. And I thought that's the score it deserved. I'm sorry to have spit on your beloved property, but one thing I've learned, when you start reviewing something, you open yourself up to such hostility from the fanboys of that area. For example, the best one I can pull from immediately is Rockstar. People blindly follow Rockstar Games and will always support them no matter what type of anti-consumer business practices they employ, and even if the games really aren't as good as they made out to be. Red Dead Redemption, I gave an 80% to because I feel like that's what the game 100% deserves with its shortcomings and its incredible innovation in the field. I think it's a very good game, a game that I would highly recommend to the majority of people. But because I don't grade things the way the other journalists do, where everything gets a 90 or 100 these days to appease the super angry and super fickle gamer culture, people target me like, oh, this fucking guy just wants to be a contrarian. Oh, he has such shit taste. He's obviously just doing this for views, even though like the score is not publicized in the title, so no one would really know unless they had already clicked on it to see the score. But regardless, it's a shit argument. The point I'm making is, in today's day and age, you're not allowed to criticize something, and it's just sad because even if you have valid criticisms, it doesn't matter because people that are a fan of who the studio or the property itself take it as a personal insult and will never see those complaints as anything other than just edgy or contrarian for the sake of being contrarian, which is sad. And journalists really they enable this type of behavior by just giving these scores away. You'll be hard-pressed to find scores in 2018 for games that are below an 80. Nearly everything is an 80 to 100 in 2018. And I'll tell you right now, every game that's come out this year is not in that ballpark, not even close. So, I guess to answer the question, why did you give it this score? It fucking deserved it, in my opinion, for sure. Well, that was this year's yearly answering questions video. I hope I answered the question that you've probably asked at some point. I hope I covered most of them. That's it. See ya. Anime is a word that inspires confusion, fear, and boners. On the surface, it's just another form of entertainment, but what it actually is a weapon. And like all weapons, there's the potential for misuse. This is the story of how I misused anime in my first year of college, and potentially led the entire student body to believe that I was some type of fucking lunatic who was one bad Naruto episode away from crashing his car into the side of the on-campus gym. It all started in high school. I was pretty reclusive, I didn't go out much, but I did watch a lot of anime, and it taught me two very important lessons. The first being, the power of friendship is the strongest force in the universe that not even God himself can compete with. Friendship probably led to the Big Bang creating our fucking universe. The second lesson being, the mysterious guy is always the coolest guy that big-titted girls want to fuck and smaller-titted girls want to fuck. And I really took that lesson to heart, and I super shouldn't have. Absolutely not. But I did. And what happened is, as I graduated high school, I realized that college was my chance to really reinvent myself and change what people think about me, my perception, because no one knows about me. In high school, everyone knew me because I went to a small school, so I couldn't exactly just kick down the door one day sporting a leather jacket and riding a Harley Davidson and have everyone think I was super cool all of a sudden. They'd probably just think I was possessed by the spirit of a 40-year-old father going through his midlife crisis. But in college, nobody knew me, so I could be anything I wanted to be. And man, I wanted to be the anime mysterious guy. And holy shit did it lead to a very embarrassing and lonely first year of my college. So my college anime opened up with an incredible season opener, just a beautiful introduction. On move-in day, the literal first time setting foot in college soil, being an adult, a full-grown, full-hairy, penised adult on a college campus. On move-in day, I had my dad helping me. And going to my dorm, moving in the elevator, there was a girl and her father who were moving in there on the same floor. And my dad was talking to her dad and her a little bit. I didn't say a word. I was too cool to say a word. And my dad tried to throw me into the conversation. So he asked me a real softball question that even a toddler could fumble his way through. I don't remember exactly what he asked me, but it was something like, "Oh, are you excited to move into this dorm, Charlie?" And I'll never forget my response because I remember this verbatim. I said, "You know I can't talk about that, Dad." I don't know why I said that. I guess in my head I thought that she would think that was super fucking dope, like I was some type of super secret agent that can't talk about his opinions. But really it just came across like, wow, this is a guy that I should be afraid of. But at the time, it didn't register with me like that was a weird thing to say. I went through the rest of that day being really proud of that, like, damn, fucking nailed it in the elevator. College is gonna be great. I just expected, like, if we saw each other in the hallway, she'd just be overcome with ecstasy and just charge me like, "Charlie's son," and then give me a smooch on my smoochers. But in reality, as you can imagine, that never happened. And that was really just setting the tone for the rest of that entire year for me. I wanted to, and luckily Kaya talked me out of it, I wanted to put an Xbox disc of Psychonauts around a chain on my neck, so that way people would know that I like Psychonauts. It's not exactly mysterious because I'm kind of beating you on the urethra with, you know, I like this, I'm clearly wearing it. But I was like, this is so different. This is totally what an anime guy would do, like the mysterious guy. Another thing that I wanted to do, and Kaya again talked me out of it, he really saved me from having an even more catastrophic freshman year of college, is I wanted to carry around a deck of cards and do magic tricks at house parties or just around campus to really make people be like, damn, that was cool. I need that guy's number. Who was that guy? That guy's super cool. Let's invite the magic deck guy back, the magic card trick guy. That super awesome and fun guy. I didn't end up doing that, but I did used to do some magic tricks at house parties, which is still embarrassing, but the cards were already there. I didn't bring them or like come up to people, "Hey, you want to see a fucking magic trick?" They were at least there. It made sense at the time. But bringing them around like a mysterious guy, keeping them in like a Ziploc bag, there was no coming back from that. If I went down that destructive path, I'd probably be behind bars right now just from scaring the general populace. Like, what is this guy up to with this deck of cards? This is a maniac. Get him off the streets, this menace. But now let's talk about the things that the social savior Kaya wasn't able to prevent me from doing. One of the biggest ones that I can remember is I used to go to clubs because I obviously wasn't really getting invited to house parties, because who's going to want to invite the guy who doesn't talk because he thinks it's cool not to? Like, I would blatantly just avoid answering questions in class. If I got called on, I'd just blow it off like, oh yeah. I wouldn't even give like a yes or a no. I wouldn't be like no, I don't know the answer. I wouldn't even give the answer. I'd just be like, oh yeah. Just like fucking mumble it out like I was fucking overdosing on Xanax. So obviously no one was going to come out of their way to invite me to a house party. No one got to know me my freshman year. So I would go to clubs by myself. And one time, it was New Year's, and I had these light up New Year's glasses. And they were some pretty fucking cool glasses, not going to lie. And I was wearing them around my neck because they were so bright I couldn't really see. I was basically just flashbanging myself when I was wearing them normally with the lights going on and shit. So I had them around my neck. And this girl came up to me and started talking to me about them. And instead of like answering any of your questions, I was playing it the same way I did everything else. I just didn't say a word. She said something about my glasses, but she fucked up and called them a necklace. She said something like, I like your necklace, that's a cool necklace. They're glasses. How dare you fuck that up? But anyway, I just disregarded it and I stared at her blankly. Like a fucking robot whose programming just malfunctioned, or I just fell asleep standing up. But she kept trying to get me to talk to her, get me to open up. That goddamn hero, that trooper, she just kept really trying to pry me open, but it just wasn't happening. Getting me to talk and not be mysterious in my freshman year of college would be like trying to open up a dumpster and not have a wave of shit hit your nostrils. But she kept trying. She pulled out her shirt saying, do you like my shirt? And it said something like, short girls know how to have fun, or something like that, or something to that extent. And I glanced at it, and then I immediately went back to staring at her without commenting on the shirt or even saying a word. I didn't make a noise. I didn't even make like a caveman grunt, like a Tim Allen. I didn't do anything. I didn't make a single audible noise. So I was basically just a fucking statue there. She tried again. She said something else about my necklace, and this time it must have just struck a chord, because I remember I pulled them off of my neck slowly and I put them on my eyes, and then I flicked them on the next setting, which was like this intense, glowing, like strobe light shit, like some blinding, banging strobe light shit. And then she walked away. I still didn't say anything because I just put them on my eyes and then turned that setting on and kept staring at her, so I don't blame her for walking away. And that was really when it hit me, like, you know, maybe being the mysterious weirdo isn't going to pay off. But I still committed to it. I still kept going past that. That was New Year's, and we still had another 5 or so months of me being an odd, weird, anime-inspired, mysterious loser. There's really no other big events that really stick out to me, just a bunch of small stuff that I kept doing throughout the entirety of my freshman year. Like if it was raining and everyone was like, oh fuck, it's raining and I forgot my umbrella, I'm just gonna wait it out. I'd walk right by them, just kind of like wiggle my way through them, and then I'd just walk out in the rain like I didn't give a shit, like I didn't even know it was raining. Like I'd pull out my phone, much to the detriment of my phone, just be like, oh, rain? Too mysterious to feel rain. I really don't know why I ever thought walking out in the rain looking like some kind of dumb asshole would be cool or mysterious, because it doesn't fit either category. But that was another thing I'd partake in almost every time it rained. The only other big event that I can really think of, one that I still think about and it keeps me up at night and really haunts my boners to this day, is when I took an art therapy course towards the second semester of my freshman year. I don't remember exactly what it was. It wasn't art therapy, but it was something similar. It was just an art class basically where you express yourself. And I thought it would be amazingly mysterious and really get girls' panties super fucking wet, just sodden panties being tossed at me. Is every assignment I tried to make it as dark and bland as possible. So one of the assignments being, what do you think of your friends? You were supposed to do one about 12 friends. You make a drawing to represent each friend. And for mine, I did the same thing for all of them. It was a black box. I don't know why I don't know what at all was my thought process with that, but I just did 12 black boxes to represent all of my friends, and when I was supposed to present it, I gave them each a name, and I did name 12 friends. I'm kind of more acquaintances. I didn't really have any like super close friends or anything, but I did name 12 people that I knew and who also knew of my existence. And that just made me seem like I belonged in an insane asylum looking back on it. But at the time I was like, oh, girls love the troubled artist, the mysterious troubled artist. This is beautiful. There's going to be tears in their eyes. I already know it. I'm going to get an A on this project. Spoiler alert, I didn't get an A because she thought I just blew it off and goofed on it. So I got a D because I at least turned something in. But even still, I drew 12 black boxes. That's some shit that you see in a horror movie, like when the weird kid's scribbling shit on paper in a black crayon and then you find out that the kid's actually a demon. That's that kind of shit that I presented to the class, and there's no doubt in my mind those students walked away deeply disturbed and afraid of me from that moment on. So, that's how I spent the entire first year of my college experience, emulating the anime mysterious guy. It wasn't until I moved out of my dorm and in with a new group of guys who put the kibosh on that shit and taught me how to be social, because they did not want to be living with some fucking weirdo that's trying to be an anime mysterious guy. So that's kind of that's how my first year of college went. The lesson to take away from this is don't emulate what you see on anime, because it's just not gonna fucking work unless you have some like superpowers that you might like, some really fucking cool superpowers. You might be able to get away with being weirdly mysterious, but I didn't. The only superpower I had was being below average male height. But if you have some cool superpowered shit, maybe you can emulate anime to some extent and still be cool, but I couldn't. But I wouldn't recommend it to most people, the non-superpowered people out there. To the people that aren't X-Men, don't try and be an anime mysterious guy. Don't be weird. That's it. See ya. Occasionally during my live streams, people bring up Miami because I'm in Florida and everyone knows Miami, so they always want to know, have I been there? Do I like Miami? And I made it very clear that I have a very palpable disdain for that city, if you can even call it a city. I call it a scam. I almost just don't even believe in Miami. It's kind of like the fucking Tooth Fairy to me. If the Tooth Fairy was a huge asshole whose only purpose was to bite your nipples off while you were asleep, I really do hate Miami. So let's get really into the meat and semen of why I hate Miami. I've only been one time. It was my junior year of college, and my friends and I went for spring break. We were going to celebrate it there, just go fucking wild. Yeah, Miami Beach party. Oh, tits all over the place. Look at all that ass, and look at all these beers and alcohols. And that was the plan. But we severely underestimated just how expensive everything in Miami is. We knew it was going to be a bit pricier, but not even Jesus Christ himself could have convinced us it'd be as expensive as it turned out to be. There was only one thing in all of Miami we could afford, and that was the hotel, because we all pooled our money together to be able to afford that. Past that, we were left to die. The people in Miami wouldn't piss in your mouth if you were dying of thirst unless you had $1,000 to pay them for it. The prices there are out fucking rageous. We couldn't be left alone. We couldn't buy anything alone. We had to stay in a group and start budgeting our money. Hey man, look, I just ran out of soap and I need to get some at Walgreens. Can you spot me $50 so I can at least get halfway there, and I'll cover the other 50? Because you can't afford anything. We couldn't buy a pack of almonds on our own without coming together as a group and budgeting that purchase. It's fucking insane how expensive everything there is. Let's go ahead and start from day one, because it hit us immediately when we got there. We planned the trip for 4 days. We stayed all 4 days, but on the first day, we knew we were in for a rude awakening. So day one, we were already, ready to rock and roll, ready for partying. Hey, it's spring break. It's time to go nuts to butts. Let's fucking hit it and shit it. So we got a taxi, which was extremely expensive, got stuck in Miami traffic for an hour, and then made it to this area where all the bars are. I can't even remember what it's called, but there's a bar there that's like the Frankliner, or maybe like the Frankie Doolittle or something. I don't remember, but it's a big bar there, and we paid $20 to get in, which is huge for us because in Tampa, it's free entry if you're over 21, so paying $20 just to get in, that was a real slap to the urethra, but we did it anyway because spring break, baby, woo! Shirt over your head and everything, about ready to go wild. And we made the mistake of ordering shots right upon getting there. Shots of Fireball, because in Tampa, a shot of Fireball is $3, and I'll never forget what it is in Miami at the Frankie Muniz Hotel or whatever. $18. $18 for a shot of Fireball. Fireball is the shittiest alcohol you can get in a shot, and it was $18 there. It was insulting. So after taking that shot, needless to say, it was basically like swallowing all of our money at the same time. We were already running out of money just from our first bar visit and first round of drinks. If I wanted to take that shot glass and dunk it into their pool, I'd probably have to pay $10 for their chlorinated pool water with pee all in it. It's unreal, the prices there. But it wasn't all lost upon going to that bar, because there was a homeless man, probably not actually homeless, but he dressed like a homeless man, and he was doing magic tricks, and we got a little private magic show from him. And it was all hat magic, so he'd be doing cool shit with his hat. And his grand finale was he pulled out a baggie of cocaine from his hat. It was really fucking cool, and we all gave him $5 because he fucking earned it like a motherfucker. That man should be going on Penn and Teller's Fool Us, or maybe America's Got Talent. It was a great routine, and he's even got a little something to get the crowd energized. Just start throwing coke out. I could see him being a big magician someday. Hopefully he's doing well. We called it a night right after that because it certainly wasn't getting better than that magic show, and it certainly wasn't getting cheaper. So we went back to the hotel and we started just drinking all of the alcohol we brought. That was a lot of fun, just 5 guys in the hotel room getting absolutely shit-faced because they couldn't afford to elsewhere. And I got extremely drunk, probably the drunkest I've ever been, and I blacked out. And then the next day, we all planned to go to the beach, but I was so incredibly fucked up that I needed to keep having the taxi driver pull over so I could puke. We finally got to the beach, and I still had to keep puking, but apparently all of the areas on the beach don't really have bathrooms. Miami doesn't believe in bathrooms, so I went to a Walgreens. They don't have a bathroom. I went to the next door business that I don't remember. They didn't have a bathroom. I went to the other business next door, which was probably like a cocaine supplier. I don't really know what it was, but it was a dilapidated little business. They didn't have a bathroom, so I ended up just puking on the road. I just figured, why not? I had nowhere else to go, and I'm sure it's pretty commonplace in Miami. I'm sure I'm about the 5th guy that morning to puke on that road. And I was feeling like shit for the rest of the entire day. The beach was underwhelming. It was just like every other beach in Florida. There was nothing super special about it except for some trivia, like Dexter Season 2 was filmed, or the Dexter intro was filmed on that beach. Like, who gives a fuck? It was so boring. At least right up until a Category 5 hurricane hit Miami that day. It wasn't an actual hurricane, but there was a goddamn monsoon that blew through and completely annihilated us. Apparently there was like a fucking news warning that went out, like, this is going to be the biggest storm we've had in 10 years. And we weren't listening to the news or anything, so we just went to the beach. There wasn't a whole lot of people there, but I can see why now. And it was just this incredibly disastrous storm that hit, with intense wind that was nearly knocking me over and my friends, and this hardest rain ever. It was like we were getting hit by baseballs. It was so miserable. Miserable. Walked away bruised and bloody, but undeterred. Our spirits were still as high as they could be, you know, because come that night we were ready to try again. Bars were out of the question because we couldn't afford the drinks, so we thought, how about clubs? So we went to a club. I don't remember the name of it. It might have been Platinum or something to that degree. $300 to get into that club. That's excluding drinks. That's not included. $300 just to go in there. Unbelievable. Needless to say, we all didn't have $300 a person to pay to get into this shit-ass club on the side of the fucking road. So we didn't go to that club. I don't know why it was $300. Maybe Jay-Z, Post Malone, Lil Wayne, and Johnny Cash was revived and they were all playing that night. That might justify $300 to go in there. But we didn't do it, so that was another bust. And then we decided, how about a strip club? Miami's famous for their strip clubs, and we thought maybe King of Diamonds would be fun. But this time we wisened up before paying for the extremely expensive ride to the King of Diamonds or anywhere in Miami. We decided to look up how much it is at King of Diamonds. Way too expensive. In a nutshell, way too expensive. Strippers there probably wouldn't even look at you if you were throwing dollars at them. You'd have to be showering hundreds to even get them to look in your direction. So we didn't go to King of Diamonds or any other strip club either. That was day 2. Day 3, we gave up. Day 3, we took a day to just recoup. We hung out in the hotel. We walked around Miami just at like little mom and pop stores, I enjoyed that. That was kind of fun. We saw a little bit of the city. We went to some stores, couldn't afford anything there because you can't afford anything in Miami. That's the main lesson to take away from the experience. But we went to some little diners and stuff and tried a bunch of different foods that I'd never heard of before, which was kind of nice. But that was day 3. Spring break's really kicking in nice. Day 4, we tried one more time. We went to different bars. The prices were a little bit better than at the Frankie show, the Frankie Way, whatever that bar is. The prices were a little bit better, so we all chipped in and bought a pitcher, which was just kind of the most pathetic drinking experience I've ever had because we were all just defeated. Like, you know what, guys? How much money do we have left? 15 quarters. All right, let's just see if we can haggle a pitcher of beer off of this bar here. And miraculously we did get a pitcher. And we all just kind of drank away the spring break because it was bad. I would have had more fun spending spring break in a sensory deprivation tank than in Miami. It was an absolutely miserable experience. The worst spring break I've ever had, and definitely the worst spring break I think a college kid could have. We lost pretty much all of the money we brought with us and had nothing to show for it. but it was kind of a good looking city. It was kind of pretty, and walking around trying a bunch of different foods was kind of fun. I would never recommend anyone ever go to Miami because you just can't afford to, unless you're taking out a mortgage, taking out some loans or something to be able to afford anything at all there. You're just not going to be able to have any fun. There's also a huge drug problem there, from what I could tell. I don't really keep up with the Miami news or anything, but walking the beach and shit, there are so many people asking you if you want to buy drugs, which was really uncomfortable. But overall, hated Miami. I would never recommend you spend spring break in Miami. Anywhere else. Literally spring break anywhere else. Go to fucking Antarctica, you'll have more fun. I don't really care where you go, but you will not have fun in Miami. That's the gist of it. That's it. See ya. Here's a little touching story for all of you from my past. I believe this was in my freshman or sophomore year of high school, and puberty was coming in full swing. My body was changing. I was getting hair on my nutsack, my butthole. My height really wasn't changing. I've pretty much been short my whole life. 5'6" has pretty much been my max level cap. Hopefully soon there'll be a new patch or a new expansion set to this godforsaken world where they can increase my height without having to obliterate my fucking legs in some back alley meth lab. But anyway, that's not really part of the story about me being short. Anyway, I was going through a really hard porn addiction phase. I was an absolute porn fiend, and one day before class, I wanted to see some vagina. I wanted to ejaculate. I wanted to just bust a nut real hard before class. But I couldn't. I watched a lot of porn for the better part of 25 minutes, which for me was a bender and a half. Usually I would have come 3 times during that period back then. But on this cursed day, my well was dried up and I had no more semen left to give my boxers. It's also worth noting as an important detail, during this time I never needed to jerk off. I never even knew how. I'd always just ejaculate after getting an erection, and sometimes I'd try different techniques like slapping it around or something to see if that helped the sensations or anything, but I never really jerked off. That's the point here. I could ejaculate using just the power of my intellect and euphoric gamer senses. I was able to just propel cum when I was stimulated visually or mentally. Alright, so now take that little nugget of wisdom and put it in your back pocket and save it for trivia night. It's going to play a major role in the plot a little further down the line in this story. So I wanted to stay home and just ejaculate because I thought something was wrong with me. I thought my dick stopped working or God banned me from ejaculating. I just thought something was awry, and I wanted to stay home, but my parents wouldn't let me because that day we had a school play to perform. It was Hamlet, and I was playing the role of fucking P. Diddy. Who's the character with the P in his name? Palpatine? Jesus, it's definitely not fucking Palpatine. I'm not playing Chancellor Palpatine or anything like that. It's like Polonius. I was playing Polonius, and he gets stabbed, and I guess that's like crucial to the story maybe. So I couldn't miss it. My parents didn't want me to miss it. They'd already planned on going to see it, so I couldn't skip school that day to ejaculate. Plus, that's not exactly a strong reason. I was very forward with why I didn't want to go to school. I was telling my parents, look, I just want to come. No sane parents can be like, you know what, that's a good excuse, Harold, let's not send him to school today. So I get sent to school, I go through school per usual, and the play was supposed to take place right after school ended. So, I was able to push back the desire to ejaculate and all that for the entire school day and up till the play, and I was rehearsing my lines or my actions. And all of a sudden, all at once, it was like a light switch went off. It was like I was having a fucking Jimmy Neutron brain blast in like the costume room, and all I was seeing was porn. Like my eyes just rolled into the back of my head, and all I was looking at was porn. Like I was Professor Xavier who just jacked into Cerebro, and I was seeing all of the porn that I'd ever seen in my life all at once. And I got hard as a fucking rock. And I knew that was dangerous because, like I said earlier, I never needed to like physically stimulate myself to ejaculate. So I'm sitting there in my Polonius costume on the verge of just blowing a hard load into it right before going on stage, and I'm panicking because we're about to perform this play and I have some shit I gotta do in the play. Like I'd hate to be the guy that gets stabbed in the play, the curtain rolls back, and then all of a sudden I'm just laying on the floor with a boner and a wet spot in front of the whole school and all the school's parents. That'd be terrifying for all of them and myself. So I'm trying to brainstorm ideas. I didn't want to just go blow a load into the toilet because that thought never really occurred to me then. So my plan was to just start chugging water as quickly as I could and just try and pee out my erection. I thought that would work if I just kept urine flowing the best I could. I only had like T-minus 20 minutes till showtime, so I killed like 2 water bottles and the plan worked. I was able to like basically piss out all of my boner, and I was able to perform the play the best I could. But the lesson here is, No half measures. If you feel like you need to ejaculate, then fucking do it. Get it out of the way, because you never know when it might come back to haunt you. You might be in the middle of a school play, and then all of a sudden you're spitting out baby gravy into your costume and trying not to cry in front of the whole class. Just don't edge for like 9 hours. Just get it done, get it over with, and then be productive for the rest of the day. That's the lesson. I guess the lesson is quite literally jerk off if you need to. That's it. See ya. Welcome to another riveting story time from my compendium of social ineptitude. Today's story takes place during high school when I thought breakdancing was the dopest shit. I used to think breakdancers were society's alpha males that couldn't walk 5 steps in public without falling penis first into a consenting vagina. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to learn to be a b-boy, an ultimate breakdancing Chad, to impress girls. Keep in mind, this was about a decade ago, so there was movies coming out that focused on breakdancing and how cool it was. The one that had the biggest impact on me was called You Got Served. That movie was like my eye of the tiger. I would throw that shit on religiously to get myself pumped up and motivated, start pumping testosterone into my dick like, yeah, alright, I'll start serving people soon, I can do this. So I'd watch a shitload of shitty Expert Village tutorials on breakdancing till I got to a point where I was like, I'm confident, I can do this in front of people now and it'll be really cool. Spoiler alert, I was never actually good at it and it was never cool, but that didn't stop me. Every single school dance function from probably freshman year of high school to senior year of high school, I would be that fucking sociopath on the dance floor during the first song, busting it wide open. You know, like at all the dances like homecoming and shit, the first song nobody's on the dance floor because it's not cool? Well, I'd fucking cherish that moment. I would charge that dance floor like a football team storming the stadium field. I was all about that first song life. And this was during the time where The Jerk was popular. Well, not really, it was kind of on its way out anyway, but I was still trying to hold on to that glory of The Jerk. So I had this little routine that I would do at every dance function, every single fucking one of them. And unfortunately, I still remember kind of the beginning of it, so I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of what it looked like. Breakdancing. I know, ladies, just leave your sodden panties in the dirty clothes and wash them later. What you just saw right there, what you just bore witness to, was a body wave into a 6-step combination, a little groundwork that I tossed in there for flair, then the jerk tacked on at the end. A combination move only fit for the most elite b-boy gods out there. Now, at the time, this was 10 years ago, I was far more limber, so I could go from the kneeling position to the standing position without fucking blowing up my meniscus. Now is a different story. I can't exactly do it as well as I did back then, but in a nutshell, that's kind of what it looked like back then too, honestly. And let me tell you, it wasn't cool. I don't think that routine I came up with will ever be cool. If I'm wrong, please, some b-boys out there, make it better and send it to me. I'd love to see how that could possibly be improved, because in my eyes, that's as good as breakdancing gets. And they didn't appreciate it. So my high school just didn't really have a taste for the finer breakdancing things, because no girls ever thought that was cool, surprisingly. And let's fast forward, so I do that at all the dances. It never really got me anywhere or anything, and I never changed the routine. That was about the extent of it. That was my breakdancing prowess on full display. That was me sailing at full mast, full erection, red alert, and nobody gave a shit. It wasn't cool to them, and it clearly just objectively is not a very good routine. But let's fast forward to senior year. I'm still doing that routine, and I finally worked up the courage to ask a girl for her number, and she humored me by actually giving it to me. She was clearly not interested, but that didn't stop good old b-boy Charlie from trying. So in order to try and get her genuinely interested in at least, like, kissing me on the cheek or asking me to tie her shoes or something romantic like that, I would send her videos of me doing routines like that. But I didn't have any friends to videotape that because no one was that close to me. In fact, I don't think any of my friends would do that now because it's just embarrassing. So what I would do is I would have my dad take videos of me doing breakdancing like you just saw, except by senior year I was a little bit better. So I was able to do like kind of head spins. I couldn't do like a head spin without supporting myself with my hands. So I could kind of just like walk my head around very slowly. And I would have my dad videotape that. It'd be like a 2-minute video of me just walking my head around slowly like that on the floor. And I would send her that. And she was such a fucking sweetheart. She would send me things like, "That's so cool," or rad. It just, man, it was pathetic. Genuinely pathetic. So, I'd continue to do this. And then she stopped replying. That's how that story ends. So, in a nutshell, I still think, power moves and breakdancing are cool as shit. I can't do them. My body just wasn't made for that type of activity. But I respect the men who can, and I still think that's cool. But the lesson here is, if you're not good at breakdancing, don't try. Don't use it to impress people. Definitely don't do it at parties or at bars or at school dance functions or anything. Just keep it to yourself. And definitely don't have your father videotape them, because that's equally as embarrassing. And trust me, I wasn't shy about telling her who videotaped that. I said, look at what my dad just filmed me doing, like it was some type of candid photo shoot or shot. So, the lesson here, just, don't be a fucking idiot, I guess. There's really no lesson here. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are trying to breakdance to impress girls in 2018. Now it's all about your Fortnite wins. But even if there is still that splinter cell of dudes out there that are blood, sweat, and tears pouring cum into the breakdance art, make sure you're really good at it before you show anyone that shit. Trust me. It'll save you a lot of embarrassment. See ya. How big is my penis? A question I've been asked millions of times, so much so that it's infiltrated my dreams, where even the figments in my dreams are asking me that question. During every stream I ever do, I'm asked, how big is your wiener? How big is your cock? How big is that womb room? And I make it no secret, I don't hide the fact, that my schlong is 6.5 inches of pure steel, bravery, and courage. So now, again, I'm sure I will continue to be asked it during my Twitch streams. I'll link my Twitch below so that way you too can see how many times I'm asked that question per stream. But this brought up something pretty interesting. Because always the follow-up when I say 6.5 inches pure sledgehammer is that flaccid or erect? And it got me thinking, who the fuck has a 6.5 inch flaccid dick? That is downright unholy. That would be biblical length that would rival God himself as the creator of the universe. That's just downright ridiculous. No, my penis is not 6.5 inches flaccid. I don't think any man's is. I'm sure I'm wrong, but speaking purely biologically, it just doesn't make any sense. The science you can't comprehend how a penis could be 6.5 inches flaccid, soft. It's unreal. So that got me thinking, let's talk about growing versus showing. A grower versus a shower. I am a grower. Now, what is a grower? A grower is a man whose penis is only presentable when it's fully erect at full mast. A shower is a man whose penis is presentable when even when it's soft. It doesn't need to put its makeup on and get in a good mood and stimulated before it can be presented and have people applaud it and be proud about it. However, the majority of men are not showers. I believe it is only 5% of the global population of cock-wielding men are considered showers. That statistic may be wrong. Maybe I just made it up. I'm really not sure, but I'm going to present it as a fact anyway. It's a very small portion of men in the world that are showers. Now, like I said, I'm not a shower, not at all. My flaccid dick is embarrassing. If I get out of a shower and I look at it in the mirror, I feel like a fucking vampire and just wish my reflection wasn't there because I saw my flaccid dick. I never take dick pics, no flaccid dick pics, because I always fear the day that somehow it ended up on the internet, and then I'd never be allowed back on the internet just out of pure shame because it's my flaccid dick. The fucking pencil eraser flaccid dick out there. Now, like I said, it gets up to 6.5 inches of steel and bravery. Take my word for it, I swear to God. But up until that point, it is a sad fucking ice cream cone. If my soft penis fell out of my pants in front of an on-duty police officer, he wouldn't even arrest me. He'd feel too bad about it. And the point I'm making here is, let's just go ahead and drop the, when you ask for dick size, is it flaccid or hard? The size the man gives is always going to be when it's performing its best. No man is going to say his flaccid dick size because all flaccid dicks are sad. Like, what guy's going to say, yeah, I'm 3 inches soft. Oh, cool. Well, now you've completely lost that person's interest and they think less of you. That's why every time I've ever done the bedroom rodeo, as it's called around the college campuses, I'm not quite too familiar with the term for fucking or anything, but always in the past, I would never let my flaccid dick be seen. I just scramble around the room like Batman who just lost his mask, so now Bruce Wayne's desperately trying to conceal his identity. I do that, but with my dick, making sure that it was not seen in any light whatsoever. So again, why am I bringing this up? Well, to answer the Twitch question that I always fucking get, A, and B, just assume when you ask for dick size that it's being dealt with in erect units. No one's gonna tell you flaccid dick size because they're all fucking small when they're flaccid. Mine, like I said, is around like the 3-inch mark flaccid. Yahoo, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and give that as my answer to the how big is your dick. I'm gonna tell you it when it's doing its best, which is when it's erect. It's 6.5 inches. Don't forget it. See ya. I don't think I've ever shared a story about myself so embarrassing that it changes the way you look at me. I've shared a lot of embarrassing stories with girls and shit that I've had in the past, but nothing that's so goddamn game-changingly cringe-inducing that you vomit and think less of me until today. I was trying to think of a story that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to tell a really embarrassing one today, but I wanted to like amp this shit up to like the highest fucking level I could. So I was going to my past, of which there's a myriad of embarrassing stories to choose, but I wanted to find the perfect one. And then I remembered something that made me sick to my goddamn stomach, so I can't wait to share it with all of you. So to preface this happened in high school. The year is 2011. This was right after my third lung collapse. If you've been following me for a while, you know my lung collapsed 3 times. And the last time it happened was 2011. Well, in 2011, I got surgery to have it fixed. And before I went into surgery, there was a girl I had a crush on that had just added me back on Facebook. And I decided I'd send her like this goddamn scholarly "oorah, I love you" message to her. And we had never spoken. So this girl and I never spoke once in our lives, not even by accident. If I farted somewhere in school, there's no way she would ever fucking smell it because we were never even close to each other in any sense of the word. The only reason we even knew about each other, or rather the only reason I knew about her, was because she was a cheerleader and I played basketball. Other than that, no communication, literally not even eye contact. And yet for some reason, in 2011, I sent this girl the most disgustingly embarrassing messages when I was in the hospital. I haven't read them. I screenshotted them today, and I sent them to myself so I could read them to you today, and we can experience this together as a lesson in how not to ever approach a woman in any way. So allow me, please. Pickup artist legend Charlie is going to guide you through the how-don'ts, the do-nots of women. So let's go ahead and get into these messages here. So ace pussy slaying god Charles in 2011 leads with, "I know you and I have never talked, but I just wanted to tell you that you are one of the most beautiful girls I have ever seen." Now some of you might hear that and think I came on a little too strong. Looking back on it now, hindsight's 2020, I don't think I came on strong enough. I should have led with "I love you." Signed, Charles, and then like a little kiss, and then, you know, maybe go from there. So after I said this, she responds with a simple question mark. Nothing else, just one character, a question mark. I was already in the hospital, but if I wasn't, that right there would have sent me to the hospital with fucking cardiac arrest. That shit hurt so goddamn bad at the time. But I mean, what can you expect when someone leads with some shit like this? This is the kind of shit you see on Twitter with like a bad English associated with it, with a "send bobs and bitch lasagna, please, vagina look good with penis" and stuff like that. It's a creepy message. Any girl should respond with a question mark or nothing at all. But anyway, my spirits weren't deterred. I continued. "Yeah, I'm in the hospital and just said, fuck it. It's worth a try. You probably don't think the same. You probably don't think the same about me, but I just wanted to say that." That's some nice guy shit right there. Jesus Christ. Well, this is pretty fucking bad. Let's keep going. To that she says, "Oh, I'm sorry," frowny face, "but thanks, I guess. Why are you in the hospital?" I'm surprised she even believed I was in the hospital, to be honest. You got a fucking stranger coming at you, pretending like he's going off to war and sending a love letter out there like it's some goddamn type of anime. If someone sent me shit like this, I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, buddy. I'm sure you're in the hospital. What do you have? Small dick syndrome going on? There's no cure. Get out of my DMs. I have recurrent pneumothorax in my left lung. It has collapsed 3 times, and tomorrow I have surgery to repair it." Sad violins playing, I'm sure, when I was typing this. "I just wanted to tell you that before I had the surgery. I know that it is..." Excuse me, I've got to scroll to the next one. It's a little out of order. 2019 Charlie clearly doesn't know how to fucking screenshot things in order. Here we go. "I know that it is a weird way to start a conversation. I also know that I came on way too strong telling you that." Self-awareness, key. Key! Even back then I had it. Even back then I'm like, Jesus, I'm sounding really fucking weird, but I'm still going for it. Didn't stop me. Should have stopped me, to be honest. Yeah, that's the lesson to take away here. Don't do this. You know, at this, when you're starting to recognize like, holy shit, this is too strong and I'm being very weird, just stop. Then she says something very odd. On behalf of all the YouTube comments, Charles, I hope you cut your hair. I'm not cutting my hair. She didn't say that. I'm just telling you. Stop telling me to fucking cut my hair. I want to see what it looks like real long. I want to look like a goddamn lead singer in a mid-2000s emo band. Just let me fucking have this, alright? So anyway, she asked about the surgery and shit. Nothing to talk about there. But then, as we're starting to wrap up, I say, just wondering, do you know who I am? If you don't, I bet this is the most fucked up conversation you've ever been a part of. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a fucked up way of going about things, past Charles. Jesus Christ. I sound like some type of spoiled rich kid. Do you know who my father is? He invented Bing. I'm a big deal. Please, please love me, please. God damn it. I'm in a hospital. For God's sakes, do you know who I am? God, these are such embarrassing messages. She says, haha, no, I do know who you are. Like, I've seen you, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sounds about right. I was a very odd guy. Odd looking, too. I had this really weird my hair looks like shit now, but back then I had an even weirder hairstyle where I shaved all, like, the side, the back, and the top of my head. Like, it was a one with the clippers, but the front was about as long as it is now. So everything was pretty shaven except the bangs. So yeah, I was a fucking lunatic. It'd be hard to forget it'd be hard not to see me and make fun of me. I was one step shy of like a trench coat fedora wearing fucking loser in high school. I really was. So yeah, it makes sense that she at least remembered what I looked like, because I looked like a goddamn fucking psychopath. So to that I said, oh, sorry. I bet this is weird for you, huh? The only way to make things like this not weird is to keep saying, yeah, this is probably weird, right? That way it's, it takes the tension off. It's like, oh, he's saying it's weird. It can't be weird if he keeps talking about how weird it is. All right, it makes sense. Like, pretty much every fucking line I say in here is about how weird it is, and yet I keep going. To that she says, I don't mind at all. So then in closing, this is my finisher. This is my Mortal Kombat fatality, my big grand finale here. All right, cool. Maybe when I get out of here, we can talk more so I can get to know you a little better. I'm not as weird as this conversation makes me seem. You know. Little pro tip to the ladies: don't take someone up on that offer. They most likely are pretty fucking socially inept. I certainly was, 100%. We never talked after this. I can't imagine why, but we never spoke or anything. Nothing ever came of this, unsurprisingly. However, I'm sure if we did, I would have been still just as socially inept talking in person as I was on the Facebook Messenger. So the lesson, ladies and gentlemen, don't be weird. That's always the advice I give to someone going into college and shit. Just don't be weird. Don't be super forward. Don't be super out there. Just be normal conversations. Let things, simmer, develop, sniff things out. Don't just come in there guns blazing, fucking jerking off. I love you. Do you love me? Like, come on. Come on, 2011 Charlie. I look back on shit like this and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I never recognized how bad I was until, you get older. So, it's a pretty embarrassing story. Maybe it's not as embarrassing for listening to it, but for me, recollecting on this, it's fucking bad, man. Like, Jesus Christ. That girl was probably scared for her fucking life, thinking I'd be tossing pebbles at her window late at night at like 2 a.m. Hey, did you think about me in the hospital? I'm alright now. You want to talk? Shit, man. Well, that's the end of the story. Another nice tale for the compendium of awful interactions I've had with women, all of which being my fault from my past. So, yeah, fuck yeah. That's it. See ya. It's been a little while since I told a story, so I figured it was about time that I sit you all down by the campfire and put some fear in your boners. I'm going to tell you a really recent story, something that I think everyone can take a lesson away from and use it in their everyday lives. So before I really dig into the meat of this, I want to preface this by saying I have not pissed my pants in a very long time. Now that that's off the table, let's get into what the story is about. As you've probably surmised from that intro, it's about pee-peeing in the pants. It's about a time where I flirted with that devil. And this all takes place in the mythical year of 2019 AD on October 4th. It was literally 6 days ago as of recording this video. It was right before going to happy hour, and if you watch my streams at twitch.tv/moistcritical, you know that the streams are fucking bangers, and that I also pee a lot. I drink a lot of water, which means I'm constantly expelling a lot of urine from my body at jet stream-like pace. I really fucking pressure wash my toilet when I get in there to do that business, so if urinating is considered a game of chess, then I'm the goddamn grandmaster. Now, this was right before going to happy hour. I had just gotten all dressed up and spruced up, ready for action, and we needed to pick my friends up before going to the bars we were going to. But before going, I had the little inkling of a PP coming on. It was still brewing, but it hadn't matured yet. So I figured there really wasn't any point to doing that. The bars weren't far, my friends weren't far. I'd just hold it till I got there and then just do my business out there in public. Just kind of to assert my dominance, like, hey, I'm not afraid to mark a urinal with my seal of approval. I'm not afraid to stamp this with my penis juice. So I just wanted to wait. I didn't see the point in going before heading over. That being said, on the journey to my friend's place, it was still very tame, very manageable, barely even noticed it. Got to my friend's place, didn't notice it. The second they got in my car, it's like they unleashed the piss demon. All of a sudden, all at once, it hit me like a fucking brick. Like a train had left the station, a bullet train, and it was hitting my bladder. There was no putting this genie back in the bottle. I was going to tinkle, it was just a matter of where. In my nice trousers, in a dirty bathroom somewhere on the way, or on the side of the road. The last two options weren't exactly options because to get to the bar you had to go over this pretty long bridge and there was no way I was going to be able to hold it through the duration of the bridge, so I'd be just trapped like a prisoner in its cell in the car just urinating all over my friends, or I'd have to hold it and literally cork my cock and I'd probably fucking drown internally with urine pouring out of my mouth like I just swallowed a cyanide capsule of urine. It was just a nightmarish situation because I really had to go. So I informed Tiana, who was now driving, and I told my friends, look, I'm sorry to be an inconvenience, but we got to pull over somewhere to go to the bathroom because I'm going to literally ruin our happy hour and turn it into the not so happy hour by coating this entire car in piss. So they understood, but the problem was there really wasn't anywhere to stop. There was no real gas stations on the way to the bridge, so we'd have to go out of our way to find one for me, and my friends didn't really want to do that, so they're trying to encourage me to just go piss somewhere next to a dumpster around some of the dilapidated buildings, because the area on the way to the bar looks like it's been hit by a nuclear missile, but I didn't want to take that chance. Because a friend of mine got put on the sex offenders registry for public urination. He got caught while peeing next to a building, or on the side of a building, and I just didn't want to roll those dice at all. I bet if I had just went down to take a piss by a building, a fucking cop would have popped out of a bush in a ghillie suit and said gotcha on me. I didn't want to, risk that at all. I'd drop trowel for 1 second, just unzip, and all of a sudden a police car fucking drift in sideways, just sirens blaring, and then take me down just for public urination, and then all of a sudden, bang, I'm a sex offender. I just didn't want to risk that at all. I didn't want to take that chance at all, so that was not an option for me. We were going to go out of our way to one of the gas stations that I knew of, and it wasn't that far out of the way, so it wasn't a huge inconvenience, but I still felt bad. Unfortunately, the gas stations were of no help, and also the gas stations look like something straight out of the Fallout universe as well. But the first gas station we go to, everything looks okay. There's a bathroom there, which is a plus. It's one of the bathrooms that's on the outside, so you need a key to get into it. So all confidently, while I'm like basically grabbing my cock, just trying to keep everything where it needs to be before I explode with urine, I go in there waddling in and I say to the guy, hey, look, I've got to use your shitter. Can I get the key to that bad boy? And he's not all there. He sounds like he's one Xanax bar away from just total overdose and collapse. So I couldn't understand most of the words he said, but he kept mumbling about the hot dog man. I didn't know what that meant. I thought he was making like idle conversation. Maybe there was a hot dog vendor outside that he wanted me to go buy from before he gave me the key. I didn't know, so I asked him, what are you talking about? The hot dog man? Who's a hot dog man? I love hot dogs, even though I fucking hate hot dogs. Just anything to get that fucking key. Felt like it was a mission in a video game that I needed to get that key to complete the quest. But so I'm making this small talk, and his answers make no sense to me. He's like, no bathroom, hot dog man. So then I'm starting to connect these dots in my head. Okay, so the hot dog man, no bathroom. Hot dog man must have gone in there and wreaked havoc. He must have just fucking tore that bitch down and lit it on fire with an explosion from his ass or something. So this bathroom is decommissioned is what you're telling me, right? The bathroom is not working because of hot dog man. He just shakes his head, no. Hot dog man. I felt like I was in a goddamn horror movie, as if like the hot dog man was terrorizing this area like the fucking Slender Man. I didn't know what he was talking about with the hot dog man. All I knew was I was not getting that key from him. So I walked out all disappointed because I knew I wasn't getting the key, and it's all because of this menace, the hot dog man, who I'd never even fucking heard of in fairy tales. So I had to waddle back to the car disappointedly, and even in more of a rush, the sense of urgency was overwhelming. Felt like the entire universe was collapsing inside on me. Also, as a side, there was no hot dog vendor outside. There wasn't even the remnants of what could have been a hot dog vendor at any point in time. So I don't know who the fuck this hot dog man is. But anyway, we go up another maybe mile up the road where I know another gas station is, and it's just as decrepit as this one. And this one was like a goddamn orgy of weirdos. There was one guy who I am 100% sure was on spice, because he was just fucking fumbling around. Luckily, he had hit just enough spice so he wasn't totally nude and dragging his dick on the floor, but he was at that level of spice where he can't really stand up properly, and he has a football that he's throwing against a wall and hitting himself with in the face off the rebound. So that's the kind of place we were at looking for this bathroom, and I knew it was going to be gross, and I'm a bit of a germaphobe, but I was throwing that aside because I needed to be strong, because I didn't want to piss myself, because I hadn't pissed myself in at least a long time. I don't know, I was trying to think of like an exact time I pissed myself, but it's been a long fucking time. I have a pretty clean streak there, and I wasn't about to have that collapse on this night. So we get to this disgusting gas station, and it's another one where the bathroom's on the outside, so I need to go in to get the keys. There's a guy in there playing the lottery, and he's taking a long time scratching it off. That's fine, that's not his fault. He doesn't know that I'm about to explode behind him like an IED of urine. So I'm not mad at him at all. He was none the wiser, not his fault or anything. When he's finally done, I go up to the counter, I say, hey man, can I get the keys to that turbo shitter? I gotta go do some business over there. He's super cool about it, gives me the keys, and I'm on my way. The guy who's throwing the football now fixates his eyes on me, and he wants to get me involved in his game. I can tell because while he couldn't really get the words out properly, he was making motions like, I'm gonna hit you with this spiral real quick, Tom Brady style, and I just, I'm putting my hands up like, please, no, thank you, politely, I've got to use the restroom. Finally get around the corner to where the bathrooms are on the side of the place. There's a man asleep on the curb in front of the bathrooms. I don't know if he was passed out or just really tired. Maybe at one point he was the gate guardian of the bathrooms, but now that he found bath salts, now he just sleeps there. I really don't know. But, I go not over him because I was already on the side. I go around him, and then I finally put that key into the bathroom, and a sense of elation and jubilation just fills my whole body as I finally turn it, and I open it, and I'm greeted with the most unholy smell this world has ever concocted. It smelled like a fucking hate crime. It was the most repulsive, revolting smell I've ever smelled in my life, and I've smelled some shit. I've smelled some serious shit, but this was something else. This smelled like the hot dog man had gone there, killed somebody, and then took a shit all over the corpse. And it's really weird because the toilet itself was pristine. The toilet was clean enough to drink out of, eat off of. It was a fantastic looking toilet, not a speck of dirt or poopy in sight. But the bathroom itself was tainted with the remnants of 1,000 angry spirits that were all shitting in unison. It's no doubt the work of the hot dog man. There's not a single doubt in my mind. He must just be like a serial bathroom shitter. Just goes around shitting in all the bathrooms, fucking terrorizing them, ruining them for people that gotta pee like me. But I really don't know. Anyway, the smell was so overwhelming. For just a brief moment, I relaxed my penis sphincter, and a little bit of urine dripped onto my boxers. I don't count that as pissing my pants because it was just enough where it only dribbled out, and I was able to once again voluntarily collapse the muscle so it didn't squeak out anymore as I finally approached the toilet, and I finally released the sweet relief into the toilet, and I finally peed. I couldn't breathe. It was fucking hazardous to my health, no doubt, with all the shit particles floating around in the air, but god damn it, I finally peed. So the lesson to take away from here: just when you feel like even like the smallest amount of pee building inside of you, just piss. It's gonna get worse. You're gonna just need to pee. Don't try and hold it. Don't be a hero like I was, because you might find yourself in a similar situation where you dribble on yourself and you visit a really disgusting smelling bathroom that really just ruins your sense of smell for like a good 2 hours. But anyway, that's the story. The lesson to learn: pee when you feel like you have to, even a little bit. Don't try and hold it, because that is just absolutely devastating and leads to this domino effect of unfortunate circumstances and a lot of stress. That's it. So yeah. It's been a little while since I've told this story, so go ahead and hop on my lap here by the fireplace and I'll tell you a tale. As is common with most of my stories I've told on the channel, this takes place during the period of my life where I thought it was cool to be a mysterious anime character. This was like my early years of college. As you can probably imagine, my ability to socialize during this time was absolutely pathetic. Having a conversation with a magic 8-ball would have been more fun and engaging than talking to me back then. Those poor souls that talked to me back then probably instantly regretted it, because having a conversation with old Charlie was like talking to Alexa if she was overdosing on Xanax. It was rough. Why is this important though? Because this is setting the stage for one story I haven't told yet. I've told so many stories when it comes to all of the fucking weird and creepy interactions I've had with women. All my fault, of course, just because I was so unbelievably socially inept. Like, it's hard to put into words how bad I was at recognizing social cues and how to be, like, acceptable in society. I fucking bought one of those fake cigarettes one time. You know that shit that kids would buy from Spencer's when they were like 12? I bought one of those things when I was 18 because I thought it looked cool and I hated real cigarettes. You know how fucking sad that is? I'm surprised I didn't buy one of those colorful propeller hats and started spinning it to try and look cool or something. It was rough. So what I'm saying is, socially, I was the worst thing you could fucking imagine. But it didn't stop me from trying to have conversations with women. I tried to fake confidence, fake it to make it, and all of that shit. And today's story will be in that ballpark. So this story takes place in a location where all good social interactions take place, at GameStop. So let me take you back to the past when my social interactions sucked ass. This is GameStop 2012, 2011, somewhere in that ballpark. I was, of course, Virgin Boy Charlie, if you can even believe that. Some say I lost my virginity before my dad, but the truth is, I was actually a virgin, embarrassingly enough. And I was doing what all virgins did, using Reddit for some advice. And Reddit is one of the worst places when it comes to seduction and just general advice when it comes to human interaction, because it's the blind leading the blind. The people giving that advice, they have likely never talked to a human being before. They're probably getting all of their social cues the same place I was. Fucking anime. So I was using anime and r/relationship or something, I don't remember what subreddit, and these two things were clashing, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take both of these, do like a little unholy fusion dance, and become this ultra Chad, the product of great advice and great animation. And I was going to channel this and show that, you know, I'm becoming more confident in myself by flirting with girls in public. And I chose my first rodeo to be at GameStop. Before going to GameStop, I had decided that I was going to march into GameStop, right up to the counter to the girl that worked there and call her beautiful right to her face. I was going to look her in the eyes. I was going to say, ma'am, you are fucking beautiful. You are gorgeous. I don't know what I expected to happen next because I didn't have a follow-up. Maybe I was fantasizing like one of those dream scenes where all of a sudden, like an anime, the girl blushes and then she calls out her 3 twin sisters or something. And they all fall in love with me. I don't know. But that was my game plan. And I was hyping myself up. I was like a football player in the locker room before the championship game, headbutting lockers. I put on a necklace, and I never wear a necklace. I found like this old gold necklace from probably when I was a kid, but my neck is still the same size as a kid's, so it still fit. I spiked my hair up real well, fucking drowned it in gel, and I mean drowned it in gel. I looked like a freshly born baby covered in amniotic fluid up there, and I felt like $1,000,000. Today was the day I was going to say to a girl, she is beautiful. So I hop into my Batmobile and I cruise on over to GameStop. I get to the door, I open it, and it's like everything else just melted around me. Time froze, and there she was, behind the desk, the only female employee at this particular GameStop, and she looked miserable. Probably because she's working at a fucking GameStop, but I was gonna make her day better by being the only man in GameStop history with the confidence to say that she was beautiful. You know, I'm sure she doesn't hear that every day from other socially inept fucking slime balls. So I was going to be the first, the trendsetter. Truly a pioneer. So I meandered around a little bit, just making sure I was building up enough confidence, going over the lines in my head. The line I was going to use was when she was done ringing me up, I was going to say, "Thank you, beautiful," and then wait to see her response, see what she says to this, hoping that she wouldn't call the police or have security come tackle me. So I finally pick out a game, some used game I'm sure, because I was big into used games for a long time. I slam that shit on the counter because I'm ready. She starts by asking me a couple questions. Am I a member of GameStop Power Plus Ultra program? Well, no, I'm not. She's going off script. I wasn't accounting for this. It's freeform now. The dialogue has been all fucked up. I'm getting a little jumbled in my head. I'm getting nervous. I wasn't expecting to be interrogated by her today. I'm not a member of this GameStop program. Would I like to be? Well, shit, would it help my chances with you? I don't know. I'm going through all kinds of scenarios in my head. It's like a visual novel. There's a bunch of different branching paths I could choose from. I'm panicking. I'm breaking down a bit. My composure is starting to falter. There's sweat on my brow and a tickle in my sack. I was not prepared for this at all. She then asked me, do I want my receipt? Another question I wasn't anticipating. Do I say thank you, beautiful, now? No, that wouldn't make sense because she asked me a question. I can't just respond with a... I have to answer the question. Everything's all falling apart at once. It's like Salvador Dali's painting where the clocks are melting. I'm running out of time. I don't know when to say this line. And no, I don't really want this receipt. What am I going to do? Wipe my ass with it? I paid $3 for some garbage used game. I tell her, no, thank you, you keep the receipt. And that's when she says it. A sentence that could dampen the pants of any man, even the strongest men. She says, thank you for shopping at GameStop. I freeze. I don't know how to respond. I stand there for what feels like hours, looking at the ground, wondering, is now the time? And then I decide I muster the courage within myself, the strength to go forward. I say, thank you, beautiful. I'm still looking at the ground when I say this, because I haven't earned the right to look my GameStop queen in the eyes yet. And then I do what any sane man would do. I ran away. I fucking jogged away. Before she could even, like, actually respond, I started jogging away with the bag in my hand like I just stole the game from GameStop. But I did hear her say, oh. I know for a fact she said, oh, as I turned my back to run away. I ran all the way to my car, hearing that oh in my head the entire way there, got in, slammed the door, and I thought to myself, Charlie, you did it. We just made that employee extremely uncomfortable, and man, do I feel like shit about it. It was a good lesson to learn. That was probably already like the 5th or 6th time that lady had been hit on that day by fucking weirdos like me. She probably just up and quit that day. That was probably the last straw right there. I don't know, because I never went back. I was just so goddamn embarrassed about this whole thing, but I do imagine she quit that day. But yeah, I tell you this story in the hopes that people will learn from it. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Don't be a fucking weirdo, and don't, yeah, that's basically it, really. That's about it. So yeah. When I was a young teenager, I had a really weird relationship, and I don't mean with like a creepy uncle or anything like that. I had a weird relationship with masturbation. Now, this will come as a massive surprise to many of you Redditors out there, but when I was a young man, I was extremely religious. I got baptized twice just to make sure the Lord took notice in case he missed the first one. I wanted to make sure he took notice and saw that I got baptized. And this led to a lot of fear, especially when it came to my penis. I was fucking afraid of my wiener. But like all young men, those hormones are pumping and you just gotta slap that skin flute around to show it who the boss is. And when I did masturbate, it was a fucking nightmare. I'd sometimes cry after it because I felt like this sacrilegious act condemned me straight to hell as some kind of unforgivable sin where the devil knew I masturbated and made a special room in hell for me. It was rough. If you listen to the official podcast, I've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past, but I used to ask my parents permission to masturbate and then ask them like a million times if I was still going to heaven if I did. It was bad. It was bad. And the reason why I'm saying this today is because I felt like sharing a story that I just remembered because I was going through some old boner jams. I was looking at old music, and I came across Bullet for My Valentine. Bullet for My Valentine is a metal band, and they used to be my favorite band during this time period, during all this here that I was just talking about, setting the stage. And Bullet for My Valentine made it impossible for me to jerk off. I don't mean like the band themselves, like the band members didn't come to my house and slap my dick out of my hand every time I was about to jerk off, but I owned one of their posters that I hung on my wall in my room. It was the only poster I ever owned, and the only reason I bought it is because I saw in like old 90s and 2000s movies, the cool kids always had like a ton of fucking band posters and shit, like Misfits and Green Day with the Beating Heart, and I was like, shit. You know, they're kind of cool. I'll try that too. So I went to FYE. I don't know how many of you even remember FYE. That's like the Blockbuster of music. FYE was a place that sold CDs and some DVDs. You could buy one CD and a pack of gum for like 90 bucks. That shit was a straight up fucking scam. But I went to FYE and I picked out a Bullet for My Valentine poster. And it wasn't a very cool poster. It wasn't like album cover art or anything like that. It was just a picture of the band members all staring at the camera. So when I hung that on my wall, it looked like those pictures in old cartoons where the eyes would follow you around like some Scooby-Doo shit. It was a kind of fucking weird poster, and it was the only thing on my wall, so I had this white fucking wall. It'd be like this. If I hung that poster right next to the Redline one and the Redline one wasn't there. It was just a completely empty wall with this one poster. It looked like some kind of religious thing where I'd like light candles in front of Bullet for My Valentine and pray, hoping to summon their spirit into my house or something. It was fucking goofy. but I thought it would help make me look cooler, so I'd take like some pictures in front of it and post it on MySpace, like, hey, I got a band poster and shit. They're a pretty popular band, people liked them, and to be fair, their music still absolutely slaps. I was listening to The Poison today, and that album still has some absolute bangers on it. So I was like, okay, this was a good idea, this is cool, people think I'm a little cooler now because my room's got Bullet for My Valentine poster in it. But when I wanted to masturbate, I realized a massive problem. I hung the poster in the middle of the wall directly behind me. And my room was very small, so I could reach out and touch it like here. And I had the poster right behind me. Like it was my shadow. And the poster was looking over my shoulder. It was directly behind me. It was like Bullet for My Valentine was always staring at whatever the fuck I was doing on the computer at this time. And I didn't realize how intrusive that would be when it comes to masturbation. Like, you know when the screen goes black on your phone or computer when you're watching porn and then you see your own greasy reflection there? Well, I had that, plus all 4 members of Bullet for My Valentine watching it with me. It was like some shit out of a horror movie where when somebody wipes off the mirror, there's another reflection in it. So it's not like I jerked off very often back then because I was so afraid of it. I wouldn't jerk off for like 5 or 6 months. I'd carry around like 6 months worth of nut, and it made me absolutely mentally ill. I had OCD, like actual obsessive compulsive disorder, not that shit they talk about on Twitter where someone cleaned their disgusting room because I had like fucking 15 Travis Scott meals lying around and shit all over the place, so they cleaned it and then said they were OCD because they wanted it clean or whatever. No, you just wanted to clean a dog shit messy room. I get it. It's not OCD though. I had a whole lot of shit going on during this time, and this Bullet for My Valentine poster was about to make it a lot worse. Because every time I did try and jerk off, and that poster existed there for like 2 years, every time I tried to jerk off, I fucking couldn't. I couldn't focus because I knew Bullet for My Valentine was right next to me, watching it and watching me. It fucking felt so uncomfortable. I remember I put tape over their eyes one time. Every band member's eyes, I put a little piece of duct tape. Do you know how fucking insane that looks? I probably would have looked like an actual serial killer if someone came into that room and saw that. Like, Charlie, why is there duct tape over their eyes? That's like some Zodiac killer shit. I had to stop listening to Bullet for My Valentine's music because every time I heard it, I'd think of jerking off, which is probably not what they were going for when they were making their music, trying to inspire some 16-year-old boy to just constantly think about touching his dick. It's so fucking terrible, all just because I bought a poster to look cool. And I should have just bought like an album poster, but that was the only thing FYE had was like this selfie of all 4 of them holding their instruments or whatever. It was terrible until one day I finally reached the boiling point and I just ripped it off the wall. I just ripped that shit right off the wall and I never looked back. Just so I had freedom to masturbate in my masturbatorium again. And I tell you, that relief when I finally did bust that age-old nut without Bullet for My Valentine haunting the room was euphoric. It was like a curse had been lifted and it was safe again to masturbate in the room. It was all just because I bought a fucking band poster to look cool. But to be fair, Bullet for My Valentine's music, still good. Still good music, yeah. I just wanted to share this because I was listening to the album again and it brought up all those repressed memories that I guess I just stored in the back of my mind. Now, I want to make it clear, I did still masturbate during this time. I wasn't a coward. I wasn't a pussy that was about to abandon masturbation just because I was a little uncomfortable with a band watching me do it. I still did manage to bust some out from time to time, but it made it a lot more difficult. So yeah, Bullet for My Valentine ruined the fun of masturbation for me for a little while. That's it. See ya. I've got a secret, and I'm not afraid to share it right now. Much like Bruce Wayne keeping his Batman identity a secret, I've got something that I've been keeping from you. And you're not going to believe me when I tell you this, but it is the truth. I used to be a virgin. Not only did I used to be a virgin, I used to be a turbo virgin who was extremely proud of the fact that he was a virgin. In my early college years, I used to brag about being a virgin to anyone that would listen. I was like those dudes that stand on corners with the sign saying the end is near, just talking about doomsday. I was that with virginity. And every day was virginity day for me. I made a video talking about this a little while back, about how I used to brag about being a virgin. I really went hard on that being a core part of my identity in my early college years. When I did talk to girls, I would treat it like I was on Shark Tank and I was pitching my virginity to them like a business that they should invest in. It was very sad and pathetic. But I figured I'd share a few more stories from this era of my life, this arc in the Charlie anime, because there's some real golden nuggets in there that I think maybe a few of you could learn from. Though I don't imagine too many of you watching this right now think virginity is cool or something worth bragging about all the time, unless of course you're trying to be a pastor or teaching abstinence at a high school or some shit as like a sex ed teacher. But anyway, I wanted to share a couple of these stories. So the first tale from the compendium of Charles White's virginity stories is actually one that I shared on a stream recently. It was my sophomore year of college, 2014. Five Nights at Freddy's is the hottest shit, just came out. We've never seen anything like that. Our assholes blown wide open by Five Nights at Freddy's. It was a dark and stormy night, and my roommate had a girl over. It wasn't anyone romantic, they weren't together, they weren't, anything at all. It was a friend of his from high school who came down to party at the university. I did not go to a party that night. I stayed in the dorm room watching cartoons. After the partying had ceased and everyone had their fun, my roommate went to bed, but she didn't. She sat on the couch and watched whatever cartoon I was watching at the time. I think I was watching Justice League or some shit, so she was wet. And she just started talking about how much fun she had at the party and eventually asked me why I didn't go with them. And I tried to play it cool. I said, I had better things to do. And if I had a cigar, I would have lit it in that moment right there and just blew a big fucking puff. I was really trying to be suave about it, but the reality is the reason I didn't go was because I wasn't invited. It was a very low-key party, and this was when I still wasn't super familiar with my roommates. They were probably afraid I'd crawl on top of one of the tables and start trying to lead like a virginity chant, like, raise your hands if you're a virgin. Oh, just me? Even better, something weird. So they didn't ask me to go, which is why I wasn't there. But anyway, of course, me being this virginity evangelist that wouldn't shut the fuck up about virginity, we talked more about some shit, I don't remember what, but of course, me being the mysterious anime loser virgin extraordinaire back then, I eventually steered our conversation into a talk of virginity. And I started telling her about, how great it is being a virgin and how, maybe I'll lose it soon if I'm really feeling like it, as if I had, a ton of options, like my fucking cell phone was full of applicants to take my virginity. And she said something that still rings in my ears sometimes when I'm trying to go to bed. After telling her all of this about my virginity and telling it with a real smile on my face, really fucking saying it with my chest like I am a virgin, she hit 19-year-old Charles with a giggle and a wow, that's so sad. And she thought I was kidding, so she started making jokes about it, and I insisted that no, I was being serious, and I was like, damn. On the inside I was like, damn, that was brutal, that shit hurt, but she's not wrong. The more I say it out loud, the more I realize how sad it is. And then she goes on to say, I'll suck your dick if you want. And I went into a full fucking meltdown mode. It was like something out of Tom and Jerry when like the stars are going around when they're like knocked out. I was having like a fucking meltdown. And I eventually just went into like full Redditor mode. I was like, oh gee, whoa. No, madame, I could never ask such a thing of you. Absolutely not. I would not have that. I'd like my virginity to stay, thank you very much, you harpy, you succubus. So I stood my ground and declined the blowjob, which was a more than generous offer from her, might I add. She was just gonna take one for the team, a real champion. Like, what a great friend my roommate had. And honestly, I probably saved her life by declining that blowjob because I don't think she quite knew what she was dealing with and getting into. She was about to bite off more than she could chew. She was like Icarus flying way too close to the sun. If she did give me that blowjob, I would have blasted an unholy cum shot at an unreal velocity that probably would have pierced the back of her throat and gone out the other side. It would have looked like she got hit by a fucking sniper. My wiener had never even been accidentally touched by a human female. The closest thing my cock ever got to a girl touching it back during that time was when a girl accidentally hit me in the balls with her criminology book when we were standing up from the table in the classroom. So if she blew me, I would have busted a nut of biblical proportion, a dangerous nut. So really, I made a noble decision and saved her life by declining that. And I think that incident right there where she said it was so sad that she was just going to offer me a blowjob really put it in perspective how sad it really was. Because it was so sad that not only did she tell me to my face how sad it was, but she tried to offer like consolation, as if she was trying to console someone who was grieving. Pretty wild stuff. And I figured I'll share one more story because this one's just as embarrassing. Probably not as embarrassing though. It's probably worse. Before my sophomore year of college, my high school had a reunion party at one of the girls' houses, And this is when I just started drinking, and I was getting after it. I was fucking hitting that alcohol real hard. And one thing that I talked about this in the previous bragging about virginity video, but one thing I used to do is I would get drunk and start bragging about my virginity in different accents. Well, I remember at this high school reunion party with all my old high school classmates, I reached that level of drunk where it was time that Irish Charlie come out and start talking about his virginity. So for the whole night that I can remember before total blackout, I was talking in an Irish accent about how great it is being a virgin and how everyone who had lost their virginity had just failed to reach enlightenment. I was the happiest one being a virgin, all in an Irish accent, of course. And then I do remember one of the girls kissed me and I pre-came down my leg. I don't know if it was like a pity kiss or something, or like pent up feelings from high school, though I doubt it because I was a real fucking weirdo in high school. But I remember one of the girls kissing me, and I pre-came down my leg. At least that's what I tell myself, that it was pre-cum. Honestly, it could have just been a full load that I blew down my leg. I really don't know. But I do know I wasn't invited to the follow-up high school reunion party the next year. So there's a very good chance that I might have just shit myself, honestly, down my leg. It could have been anything. It could have been any mystery fluid coming out of there. I couldn't tell you. But yeah. Just a couple more tales from this time where I thought bragging about being a virgin was cool. Again, the lesson to take away. Bragging about virginity is a weird thing to do. So yeah, probably just avoid that. Don't do that. That's it. See ya. Last week I took you on a journey through the artistic genius of Charles White, the modern-day Da Vinci. I showed you some of my greatest pieces from my time as an art major in college. Of course, my crowning jewel, my magnum opus, being this portrait of my father that I created. When I first saw this, when I rediscovered this artifact here, this treasure, I actually didn't know it was my dad at first. I thought it was one of the models from the class I drew it in, which was figure drawing, where you had people come in, and I thought the model just happened to look like Jared Fogle from the Subway commercials. But the reason I knew this was my dad is because I recognized the chair he's sitting in, and I was like, wait, that's my fucking dad I drew, huh? And then, of course, all the similarities just started hitting me. It's a very abstract interpretation of my father, but to the keen eye, the trained eye, you'll immediately recognize it, I would say. Now, is this the single worst piece of art in history? Absolutely not. Is it the best piece of art in history? Yes. Yes, it is. I really love everything I was able to capture here. If I was to go back and redo this, the one thing I'd do is I'd get rid of the camel toe. My dad, he doesn't have like a visible camel toe or anything like that, but I hit him with some moose knuckles here, and he didn't deserve that. I didn't do it on purpose. It's just there were some folds in the pants I was noticing, I think, and I just accidentally reverted to like hentai techniques. So a bit of a miscalculation there. I also might want to have put some legs on the chair, because right now it looks like it's a floating chair, like he's fucking MODOK. But everything else is right on the money, I would say. I really like what I was able to do with his torso here. It kind of makes him look like a thwomp from Super Mario 64, just like a giant fucking block. He's not like this wide or anything, but I was playing with dimensions, of course. As an artist of my caliber, it's nice to distort reality a bit and play around with proportions, which is, of course, I was experimenting here with great success. I need to definitely get that framed and maybe find some candles to put around it to make it look like some kind of satanic ritual where like that's the deity we're worshiping or something. But it definitely needs to be like in an art museum or something, I would say. But anyway, this isn't about the actual art pieces. I wanted to tell another story from my days as an art major, because I hinted at a few tales from back then in the last video, and I figured I'd share one right away. This is one that I've only touched on briefly, like in the podcast and in the past. And I never bothered to finish the story because it's extremely embarrassing and I actually feel pretty shameful for it. But I figured it's 2021, baby. Shame's a thing of the past. So let's fucking get in here, raw and no rubber, and I'll just tell you it like it is. So I took a figure drawing course, which is where I drew that piece as well as many others, where it's basically drawing people and things that you see in person. And one component of this course was drawing nude models, the idea being that you capture the human anatomy like it is, and you just go in there and put that pencil to the paper and you let it all hang out there. No secrets among the art students, prolapse, rectum, and all from the model. It's going on the canvas. And it's that shit that you used to see in the old movies where, you know, the protagonist would go into an art class and everyone's drawing a naked guy whose dick is flopping around. It was that, but I took the course in real life. I didn't know it at the time, so when I went in and saw a naked man posing in front of everyone, I was pretty shocked and caught off guard. I thought I had walked into like a Reality Kings porn shoot or something, but It turns out that was just a component of the semester, and it was pretty fucking weird and uncomfortable. It was a 3-hour session twice a week for this course, and the nude model we had was this guy who would strike a pose that we'd do our best to capture, and he would just listen to music after striking the pose, so he wasn't even putting his heart and soul into it. He'd just throw on the boner jams and transcend to the avatar state and leave this corporeal dimension, leaving us struggling art students behind in the fucking fallout barren wasteland of art, doing our best to capture his weird superhero pose. The position he chose was like the combination of Crimson Chin meets Goatsy. It was something kind of like this. So he came and he had hands on his hip, leaning forward like this, but he had a little stool in front of him so he could put his leg up, and he leaned forward a little bit, just so that way you could see a little bit of his butthole if you were unfortunately positioned behind him, which of course I was not directly behind him, so I didn't have like the full butthole spread action, but I had like tip of, like outer rim of anus plus some wrinkles, because I was still on like the back side, I didn't have front, so I saw, like, from my position, since his leg was up, I had a little bit of like cockhead dangling in front, like kind of like a sunset behind his ass cheeks, and then like asshole rim plus wrinkles. It was like a Banksy painting, like if he drew the beach and then like put some ass cheeks in front of it with the dick behind it, you know what I mean? It was a very uncomfortable situation to be in, and especially just to sit there and with like my little pencil measuring his asshole circumference, trying to make sure all my dimensions are right, because the professor was grading on like dimensional accuracy for like the figure drawing portions. Obviously these pieces here, she just wanted to gauge where we were at for the most part, but when it came to actually drawing what she had in front of us, she would pretty much evaluate us based on how close we were to capturing the dimensions. So everyone was like really going deep into capturing each segment. The technique she taught us was to look at everything like letters in the alphabet, like for example, a asshole would be kind of like a C from my position, because I wouldn't have the full circle, so it wouldn't be an O, it'd be just a C. So then I'd have to measure out the C on the paper, and not to get into like the rubric and the grading criteria, but just to explain that I had to sit there for 3 hours thoroughly analyzing the wrinkles and dimensions of a man's asshole, ass cheeks, and like cockhead, and it was just really uncomfortable for the most part. So after, I only did this for one course. After this, I went home, because I went to college not too far away from where my parents lived. I went home and I was like, look, you guys need to come up with an excuse, because I cannot sit in this course for the next 3 weeks drawing dick and asshole for a collective 6 hours a week. I just can't do it. So we eventually came up with the idea that we would use religion as my excuse. So I didn't want to like just not go to the course, because I didn't want to fail the course, because it was like a 3-week course. And by missing all of that, I would absolutely fail. So it would have been just a huge waste of money. So we used religion as like the scapegoat. So I had my parents send her an email, like acting all outraged, like, how could you have our son Charles drawing butthole in your course? This directly goes against our beliefs in the Lord and his teachings in the Ten Commandments in the Bible. This is absolutely unacceptable. Charles will not be attending the course, and we expect he will still get full credit, because we wouldn't have allowed him to take the course if it was disclosed beforehand that nude model drawing was a requirement. It sounded like something a fucking Scientologist would have written, except far more polite. They weren't like mean about it or anything. It was just using religion and the inability to see butthole and cock as an excuse to not go to the course for 3 weeks. And they sent it. And then she sent me an email and then talked to me saying, look, she understands. She apologized to me, but she didn't need to do. And she still gave me credit and told me just to sit out the 3 weeks and come back towards the end. So, yeah, I got out of drawing that by using religion, the ultimate excuse. It was a genius plan, to be honest, and I feel really bad about it. And the reason I've never told this is because I really am super embarrassed. I should have just toughed it out and drawn more dick and asshole, but 6 hours a week thoroughly measuring a guy's dick and balls and stuff, it just wasn't exactly what I had signed up for as an art student. It never even crossed my mind that that would be one of the art curriculum, like part of the art curriculum. So I just kind of panicked. I was like, look, I just don't want to keep doing this. I really don't. I'm not trying to get into like furry porn art or anything. I just wanted to make some cartoons, not these kind of cartoons. I just wanted to get out. I felt trapped, and of course the only out was playing the religion card, and luckily my parents were on board to send that email, and And I still got credit, I still passed the course, and yeah, that was that. So I still feel bad about it, like lying to her, because she was a super sweet professor and just a really nice person all around, but I just really didn't want to keep going to that course and doing that for 3 weeks. But if I do now have the tools to draw asshole if I'm ever in a situation that calls for it. Like, let's say I'm in a situation where a bomb is going to detonate and the only way to defuse it is by drawing the villain's butthole, I would be able to capture his brown balloon knot down to the millimeter and save the day. So it wasn't a huge waste of time or anything, but you know, I never finished the course, so maybe I wouldn't even be able to fully figure out how to capture a butthole. But I feel like one course was probably plenty. But anyway, that's about it. See ya. It's been a little while since the last time I sat you down at the fireplace with my bathrobe slightly ajar to tell you an embarrassing story from the period in my life where I've LARPed as a fucking mysterious anime character. This was around the time I was like 18, 19 years old, so like freshman, early sophomore year of college, and I've told many a pathetic story from this sad compendium of miserable social ineptitude, and there's one I haven't shared with you that I thought I'd share today. This was actually the first date I ever went on, like first official date. I'll just give you a brief lore update for those that haven't seen any of the other videos. Back in early college years, I thought it'd be great to reinvent myself as a mysterious anime character in real life. It worked for the anime characters. Girls were always trying to constantly like gobble on their meat. And so I thought, well, if it worked for them, it could work for me. So I wanted to be like super unique. I wanted to wear a chain with my favorite video game disc on it, Psychonauts, so just be like a fucking chain with Psychonauts on it. I also refused to talk to people, so if people talked to me or asked me questions, I'd respond with like moans and grunts instead of words. It was really goofy shit. Like talking to me would be like talking to an NPC in Banjo-Kazooie where they just respond with that's how I would pretty much respond to shit, or just complete silence. I have no doubt a lot of people on campus probably reported me to authorities as a potential threat to the university in those early year and a half, however long I spent doing that. But I eventually grew out of it. But during this time, I actually did get a date. My first real official date. Now, while this was my first date, it wasn't like I was a completely kissless virgin. I was a virgin who had been kissed once. It was a dare. A girl was once dared to kiss me because that was seen as such a punishment that in a truth or dare game, they made it a dare to kiss me. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is my time to shine. Probably pre-came and shit my pants at the same time. But anyway, I managed to get this date because a friend of mine from high school actually invited me to a party. We hadn't seen each other in quite some time, and they invited me out to go drink with them. At the time, I was completely straight edge. I didn't want to touch drugs. I didn't want to touch beer. I also wasn't even sure I ever wanted to lose my virginity. I was starting to think it might even be best if I didn't. But they invited me to this party, and I was still in this mysterious anime phase, and he invited me to play beer pong with him, and I was like, well, as long as I don't drink. And he's like, fuck it, Charlie, I'll just drink for you. Just fucking play with me. And I was like, sure, let's go. So we were playing, and then eventually his friends called him to do like a keg stand or something, so I needed a partner, and a girl hopped in to play with me. And I didn't say a fucking word to her. And I guess that must have been cool enough because she started talking to me, and then I eventually like mumbled out like, do you want to go to the beach? And she said yes. She gave me her number, and we set up a beach date for the next day. And my God, I don't even think I slept that night. I remember that night after the party, I went back to the dorm and I was just busting out hundreds of crunches and like bicycle crunches and shit, trying to sculpt out my abs speedrun style. I didn't eat. I only drank a ton of water, just trying desperately to get my six-pack to pop out a bit more. I was a lot leaner back then because all I focused on was being like ripped, but my arms were super skinny, so I just kind of looked like an actual poorly drawn anime character physique-wise. Nowadays, I'm just actually fucking jacked, but back then I was like, all I need is abs, and girls will want to fuck me real good. So I'm in my dorm for hours just fucking doing an impromptu P90X routine till the sun comes up, and I text her, she doesn't respond, I start to panic, I texted her again, Still didn't respond. I'm fucking freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, I've ruined it. I fucking blew it. Holy shit, it's all over. She hates me. She probably reported me to the police because I was creepy. Oh my fucking god. I text her again. I fucking triple texted her. Literally the worst possible thing you could do. She finally responds just saying she was sleeping, and then I realized that that's probably about par for the course because it was like 9 a.m. I was like, it's fucking like Saturday, and I'm texting her at 9 a.m. like 1,000 times. It you know, stands to reason that she might just be sleeping in. Fucking having a manic episode in the text messages there at 9 a.m. and then she still agrees to meet with me. She's like, yeah, we're still down for the beach, let's go. So we meet at my car. I play my boner jams, which was a real risk for me because the music I listened to then and the music I still listen to now isn't really popular. It's mainly like metal and shit like that. And luckily she likes that music. In fact, she even knew some of the bands like Cybreed. She likes Cybreed, which is still my favorite band right now. So that was cool, but I'd never done small talk or anything. So I didn't know how that was supposed to go, and I think she was picking up on that, so she took the initiative to talk to me. So she asked me, hey, did you have fun at the party last night? I said, nope. Which is a great response because, I mean, that's super cool. Like, hey, this guy is so goddamn badass, he didn't have any fun last night. But I do remember saying the only cool thing about the party was meeting you. I was like, that's kind of suave. So I hit her with that bit of smooth ass cheeks right there. To which she didn't really say anything. At least I don't remember her saying anything. Maybe she had just gotten completely sodden panties and, you know, that's probably what happened. But she continues, you know, standard stuff. What's your major? At the time it was digital arts. This was before I switched. Do you like digital arts? It sounds cool. What is that? And I was like, I fucking hate it. It's just making 3D animations. It sucks. So I'm just constantly doing my best to ruin any kind of positivity. That whole car ride was basically like condensed pessimism on wheels. And so she just keeps asking me these questions to which I'm giving like the worst responses to imaginable, convinced like the anime characters I've seen before that being different or being negative is cool to women, which it's definitely not. But she eventually gets to the dagger. What do you do? Like, she probably assumed I had like a job or something because she did. So she's like, well, what do you do for work? You know, what do you do? And I was like, can't get into that. It's a secret. Which obviously piqued her interest because, like, what the fuck does that mean? Am I like a CIA spy? Am I a hitman? Assassin? Like, what the fuck is that? She's like, well, what do you mean it's a secret? It's like, I just can't get into that. I can't talk about it. So she keeps poking the sleeping bear. She's like, well, what do you mean? What do you do? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, what do you do? And eventually I'm like, I make videos on the internet. Keep in mind, this is 2013. The idea of being a YouTuber was a foreign concept back then. I'd also never told anyone about this. I never said out loud that I made videos online. I always kept that like my biggest top secret. I never ever talked about it, but in this instance, I was fucking desperate. I was pulling out all the stops. I was emptying my pockets of all the possible fucking spaghetti I could fill on the floor, vomiting anything that might help my chances of getting me laid. I would have told her I was Santa Claus if I thought it would help my chances of getting my cock wet. I was just going all out. Just this once. Just trying. So I told her I make videos on the internet, and she laughed at me, which just felt phenomenal. She thought I was just kidding because I had hyped it up so much to that grand wet fart of a reveal. She was probably just relieved more than anything because she probably thought I was a psychopath with the way I was answering, but I dropped that nugget of truth on her, and at the time, like I said, this wasn't really anything anyone talked about. Like, YouTuber wasn't a thing back then. Most of the most popular shit was like Facebook pages that people knew. And when it came to YouTubers, most people only knew like the biggest ones. The big one back then that I remember most people talking about was Epic Mealtime. And I also remember even things like I'm Schmacked were kind of big back then. But other than that, there wasn't a ton else that college students would think of when they hear of internet content creator YouTuber. So she didn't really find that all that impressive, and I've never treated it like a job or anything, but I just thought it was going to be a good answer to that question, one that she probably hadn't heard before, and she probably never did hear it before because she just straight laughed at it, which didn't make me feel like my chances were being helped. She thought that I was just making like a joke out of it because I just made it like this hyped up thing, like, no, it's a big secret. It's a fucking government secret. I'm not allowed to say it. If I say it, the government's gonna come fucking kill me. And then I just reveal like I make fucking gameplay and commentary videos on YouTube. So she giggled at that, and then she asked what the channel was, so I showed it to her when we parked. I brought up the channel, and at the time, the channel video that would autoplay was my titty simulator game, which of course was a kind of weird look. So I bring that up. At the time I had like 800,000 subscribers, which is a fucking ton. And she was impressed by the number, but the content itself I don't think she was too fond of, because it was Titty Simulator with me talking about fucking honkin' milkers being dragged around by their nipple. And then some of the other related ones were other weird games like Don't Shit Your Pants and things. So she didn't really want to stay on the channel that long, but she said congratulations to me, and I was like, oh, okay, it didn't really work very well, now did it? So we finally arrive at the beach, confidence is shot, I can tell that this mysterious anime character Facade's not doing me any favors, so we end up just going to like a pretty crowded area on the beach at Clearwater, and just laying down, and she played music with her earbuds in, and I just kind of laid there, you know, pretending like this was productive, like, yeah, I'd always wanted a tan, I'll just fucking lay here with my ass cheeks hanging out, I guess, why not? And just fucking sit there doing nothing while she's listening to music at the beach. At the end of it, I just kind of felt like I was an Uber driver who stayed a little too long, like she requested a ride, but then I had nothing else to do, so I also just went to the same destination. So we just kind of stayed there for like an hour, and then she's like, all right, I'm ready to head back. I'm kind of hungry. I didn't even bother asking if she wanted to get food with me, because I could already just pick up on the vibe here that it wasn't really going anywhere. So we go back, and then she hugged me, and I was like, fuck, it was all worth it. I got a hug. Let's go. Woo! So I got a hug out of it, which means I was a champion that day, but we never talked again, surprisingly. And that's how my first date went. So overall, pretty successful. Got off to a great start, really, in the whole romance world. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I also think it's a pretty interesting look at how things have changed recently, because back then, YouTuber wasn't even a word in anyone's vernacular. No one had ever really like heard of that before. It wasn't really an explored concept, just kind of like this emerging hobby that some people would pick up on. But nowadays, I think it's like 60% of kids want to grow up to be like a YouTuber or internet creator, which is wild. So in less than a decade, it has completely changed. But back then, yeah, that shit was not looked at too positively. But anyway, I just wanted to share this story because I haven't done this one before, and I thought it was worth sharing. That's about it. See ya. When you look at me, the first thing you probably think to yourself is, man, this guy likes to party. This looks like a guy who's not only super tall, but also breathes life into any hootenanny that he attends. And you'd be right to a certain extent. I used to enjoy the old shindig back in college. I'd go out pretty often. And I saw a video today that reminded me of an extremely sad and embarrassing tale that I haven't thought of in a long time. So I'd like to show you the video that brought about this Winter Soldier episode within me, and then go over the video as well as this story that I'd like to tell.
Joe Burrow! Joe Burrow! You didn't even come close.
That's where the video ends, but I imagine he ran down the stairs, ran behind the house, started crying, and then just buried himself. Just fucking died there. It was so sad to see a man super excited to be getting tossed a beer. The local frat dudes were like, hey, this guy needs a fucking brewski. So they, you know, fucking Amazon primed one. Now, it wasn't a great throw. That was definitely not a Joe Burrow caliber toss. And it nearly killed the guy. Fucking sent him over the rails for it. Because that guy was thirsty, right? And the only thing that quenched that thirst was butt chugging a Miller Lite across the street. So yeah, dude went ass over face, falling off the balcony, then hitting the deck and flopping like a fish down below. I'm gonna go ahead and toss this instant replay up on the Jumbotron, because I'm pretty sure this man exploded midair, like Mr. Potato Head. Just bits and pieces flying all over the place. His hat just got blasted off. I'm pretty sure he lost both of his shoes there. The G-forces damn near tore his clothes off as well. He was almost butt-ass naked by the time he hit the ground. Like, I don't know what went wrong, but there's just like so many clothing items that get lost on the small fall. But anyway, this brought out a repressed memory deep within me. It's something I haven't thought about in a while, and it made me very yucky feeling. I just cringed and thought it'd be something worth sharing with all of you before I once again locked that away forever, never to think about it again. This happened back in college before I retired from partying. I now no longer believe in fun at social gatherings, I guess. I just don't really party or anything anymore. And it was one of the first parties I had went to after getting to college. And I didn't really know anyone, of course, and I had already established myself as the weird, mysterious anime character, so I'm sure people had recognized me as a fucking psychopath before going to this party. So the fact that I showed up there probably already made people uncomfortable. I would have been in my sophomore year here, I imagine. I can't quite remember, but it was one of the first parties I went to, and that was like the only time I started going out. So I'm at this party, it's a house party, and there's a pool. They have a keg, they even have like a live band performing inside. It was just some like butt rock band that I'm assuming the members were students at the school. It was, you know, going all out, and as the night continued, I didn't really interact with many people, pretty much anyone aside from Andrew, who I went with. And, you know, wasn't getting a whole lot done, wasn't drinking that much or anything, but towards the end of the night, as people started getting a bit sloppy, they started doing beer-catching trick shots. And it was cool. And I, at this point, thought, this is my chance. This is my time to shine. I can stand out and make friends by being the guy that makes a cool beer catch. Even though I'd never, like, caught a fucking Mach 5 thrown beer, because they were going hard. They're doing like behind the back tosses, behind the back catches, and just fucking throwing that shit as hard as they possibly can and seeing if someone can catch it. And I was like, this is it. This is how I finally make a name for myself here. And one of the tricks that they did that I thought would be, you know, my time to hop in is they were doing it over the pool. So they were doing like cool between the leg tosses over the pool, and someone would go in, do like a 360 and catch it before hitting the water. Then they'd come out, pop it open, and chug it like Stone Cold. They didn't shotgun it, so kind of pussy shit, if I do say so myself now. You know, hindsight's 20/20. But anyway, I thought, this is it. I know I can front flip into this pool. I knew I could do it, and I thought it'd be the coolest thing those eyes had ever seen. I thought everyone would be like uproariously cheering me, going wild, like, holy fuck, this dude just front flipped into the pool and caught a beer. I was running through this fantasy in my head. I was like, yep. This is how I do it. I'm gonna be the coolest fucking dude on campus. So I teed up at the end of the pool, you know. I'm queuing up, I'm ready. Everyone's still around the pool, cheering on cool catches, booing misses, and I knew that this was my time to shine. No one's paid any attention to me up until this point. No one is looking at me on the end of the pool there. So in order to get their attention, I start like clapping, you know, like, hey, I'm ready. Toss me the pigskin. Give me the rock. I'm ready. Feed me. So I'm clapping, trying to get like their attention. The dudes that are tossing the beers, like setting up the trick shots. And then eventually one of them does look at me. And without a second thought, the second we lock eyes, I just do a front flip into the pool. Barely, mind you. And I have my arms straight up and I don't finish the whole rotation. So I end up on my ass with my hands up in the air. And no one throws a beer. So I just fucking shittily front flip into the pool. It looks like I'm probably drowning, like a ship going down as the sail slowly keeps sinking because my arms are above the water. I've already failed my front flip, so now I'm just sinking in shame. I pop up, there's no beer, and no one's even looking at me. I don't even get a boo. Nobody cared at all. It was the saddest fucking moment of my life. Like, if someone had just given me like a pity, woohoo, or like, aw, something, I would have been like, okay, not all is lost. But I got literally nothing. Straight up crickets. And then some other dude did a trick shot into the pool and they loved that. Meanwhile, the fucking socially inept turbo virgin on the other side gets fucking nothing. And I don't remember exactly what happened next, but I can't imagine we stayed much longer. Because I do remember getting into the taxi soaking wet. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to air dry. I imagine what happened is Andrew felt my pain and was like, Charlie, let's get the fuck out. But I guess I just blacked out from cringe at that point because I can't complete the story. I just remember that, and man, it was sad. So yeah, this video really brought that demon back, brought that evil out of me, and I just wanted to share it with all of you because, you know, I don't want to think about it again past this point. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. You ever watch a video that just makes you feel nostalgic? It feels like you transport back in time. That's what happened to me today. It felt like Jimmy Neutron had built a time travel device that took me back to the most embarrassing era of my life. My first year and a half of college. This was the real goofy goober era of my life where I tried to emulate a mysterious anime character and was just genuinely creepy and uncomfortable to be around. I have no doubt my fellow peers were reporting me to the student body as just someone to be aware of as a potential threat. It was scary. Like, it was such a bad idea. I was built on awful Reddit advice and delusion of anime characters. I thought it'd be a good idea. I've talked about it at length before. And today I watched a video that served as a reminder of my shame. And this had to do with a couple of times I went to parties, which I've talked about a little bit. During this period, I did try and socialize to the best of my ability, and I'd argue I was the life of parties when I went out. And by that I mean I made people scared for their lives when I went out to parties. Let me show you a little clip of the video and then dive deep into what I mean. Yeah, so this lady's really busting it wide open on the dance floor here of this local dive bar. She's just going hog wild. I don't know if it's drug related or just the spirit of music has taken over, but she is transformed into the demon of dance. Her eyes are like glossed over, and thanks to the camera, they're like glow in the dark, so it's really intense. And she's throwing out all kinds of advanced maneuvers right there. That's like a million dance moves in 10 seconds. It's like she's trying to go for a high score combo in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 here. But what it reminded me of is how I used to act at like bars and parties back in the early college days, because there was a couple bars near our campus that didn't ID check, so we would go there and I'd try and do shit like this because I thought by trying to be the center of attention, it would be good in helping me get laid. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But I'd go fucking wild. I'd start popping and locking. It was like I was doing Wing Chun on invisible enemies, because I didn't really know how to dance super well, but I kept trying. I'd hit like sloppy body waves and shit. And I made a video a while ago talking about how I tried to learn to breakdance to impress girls. So, you know, I'd drop to the floor and hit them with like the 6-step shuffle or whatever. And of course, you know me, I'm famous for the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance hot dog. But I'd drop to the floor and just like get after it. Like this. Give them some of that shit. It's just, yep. A little out of breath already. It's been a while since I busted that bad boy out. But yeah, you know, I'd just fucking serve it out on the dance floor there, and no one stopped me. Like my friends that I'd go with, they never told me it was a bad idea, because I think they just liked laughing at it. So I'd spend like an hour doing this shit on the dance floor, looking like I was on bath salts, and I'd never learned my lesson. So when I saw this video today, seeing her go after it like this, I was like, damn, it's like looking in a mirror 8 years ago. Watching her dance is like watching a dog with the zoomies, where they just start like running in circles and going crazy. I mean, hats off to her. Like the confidence to do this and really just go wild at it, I think is fantastic. I always enjoyed doing it back in college, even though I know it made me look very odd to most people, but I still did find it to be enjoyable at the very least. But goddamn, the people next to her are gonna be leaving this bar with scars. The way she's whipping her hair like that shit is an actual weapon. That's some like actual Bayonetta shit, using her hair for offensive attacks. This right here is my favorite moment in the routine. I definitely think this would win So You Think You Can Dance. She hits him with like the praying mantis up here, and then into like a T-Rex arm combo. It's very rare you see a move like that executed so fluidly. So I thought she did a wonderful job there, and I really think it just helped put a nice bow on the entire choreography here. Unfortunately, that's where the video ends, but I'm sure the dancing continued for a couple hours there. She was definitely just getting started. This was only Act 1 of the performance. I think it's great all around. It seemed like she was having a good time. The people around her also seemed to enjoy the show. And I just wanted to talk about it because it reminded me of a silly time during my college days that I thought would be fun to share. That's really about it. I still think I'm one of the best dancers on the East Coast. And yeah, see ya. Well, hello there. So, where to begin? Many of you know that I stopped drinking about 4 years ago. But many of you don't know that I stopping drinking 2 weeks ago. It was a buddy's birthday. It was Chase's birthday, a special boy. And in order to celebrate, we went out and I had a couple of drinks. Nothing crazy, but it was the first time that I broke my sobriety since starting it. And it was fun, like visiting an old friend that you used to be pretty close with, but you know you shouldn't be friends with that person. It was nice. And I figured, you know what? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. I'll drink occasionally, lightly. Nothing too crazy. No need to let the demons out. But, those devils reared their ugly head 2 days ago. So, we went on a little road trip. I won't spoil the surprise on what it was for, because there's a whole video for that. And after the event we went to, I decided to have a couple of drinks. And then a couple of drinks turned into a couple thousand of drinks. And then before you know it, my whole universe came crumbling down around me. You know that cliche in every horror movie when someone gets possessed and then, like, their spirit comes back and they say, like, I've been suffering in hell for an eternity, but it's only been, like, 2 minutes on Earth? That was me with this drunken state that I found myself in, this drunken stupor. Time moved so fucking slowly. Everything, it was like a black hole absorbing time. The alcohol in my system kept taking in time and not letting it pass. So I just stayed in agonizing misery for at least 12 hours. And it was a road trip, so we were going back, and I needed to be in a car for 8 hours in this state.
Okay, so it's, what's today, Sunday?
Yep.
At 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Today we were supposed to be driving to North Carolina, and Charlie decided it was time for him to go hard last night.
I went absolutely off my rock. I went off my gourd. It was disgusting.
Just to be clear, we were supposed to leave, what, 5 hours ago? 4 hours ago?
It has been 12 hours, and I am still fucking wasted. Like, I feel like I am still at a club right now.
Well, we can turn up the music.
Yeah, we got the All-American Rejects playing for that DMCA strike. It's sounding good. And I feel like $1 million.
Well, the good news is this car's actually really nice and drives smoothly, so we should be good.
Yeah, we're gonna hit one bump and I'm gonna puke everywhere.
Yak bag up there.
Yeah, I got my yak bag. I've got, yep.
Yeah, the gang's all here.
We're having fun.
It didn't even require a single bump. In fact, almost 50 seconds after this video ended, I sat up and puked all over the rental car. Because, surprise, surprise, the bag that we had designated as my yak sack had a hole in it. So what ended up happening is I puked in it, and it just went right onto my lap, blasting out the bottom of it. So I must have actually pressure washed it with bile. It was awful. So the reason I'm even sharing all of this is because this is a promise to myself going forward to not drink like this again. I think I'll still occasionally have like 1 or 2 for celebration events or whatever, but just never more than that. This is, I limit tested here for the first time since college, and I didn't like the results. Like, I'm not going to be doing this again. And let this be a lesson to all of you out there to drink responsibly in moderation. I swear to God, I have never been so sick in my life. I got alcohol poisoning one time in college, and I didn't feel as bad then as I did during this. I think it was a combination of all of the drinking and also the road trip, like compounding. It was brutal, legitimately brutal. So I ended up puking close to 30, maybe 40 times. I'm not really sure. It's hard to keep track, you know. Can you count all the grains of sand on the beach? It just wouldn't stop. I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink without puking. I was so dehydrated, I have no doubt I looked like SpongeBob when he needed water. It was so awful. So I came out of retirement from sobriety, and I'm ready to go right back into it. You know, the star that burns brightest burns out fastest, and that's exactly what happened here. Plenty of drinking in that night for their whole lifetime. So let me go ahead and play you like an aftermath clip because we recorded this morning where I was feeling a little bit better. Hey, good morning. So, I'm feeling better. I left my calling card in the hotel room. I puked all over it again. But this time, since I had the fruit punch electrolyte, it looks like just a fucking ton of blood. So, it looks like a murder scene. And I'm feeling good now.
I think we should give a little update on how the drive went yesterday.
Pretty smooth. I think I maintained composure pretty well for the most part. You guys probably didn't even know how bad I was.
No tears were shed.
Yeah.
Not yours, not mine.
Yeah. So, I don't think I stopped being drunk until we got here at like 9 p.m. and I took a shower. But yeah, I remember crying a lot in the car.
He was in some pain.
I like the idea that every 4 years we do 1 week of drinking, and that's it. And it's like the Olympics. And then we never drink again for the next 4 years.
More like every 4 days. I'm ready to go again. Experts estimate that I drank like 15 mixed drinks 2 nights ago.
If Chelsea's the expert, I heard the number higher.
Yeah, so not bad. I can do better. Since it was a blackout or back out kind of night, I don't remember a lot. So we went to some guy's house at some point. I remember meeting him. He was very nice.
Yeah, super nice guy.
And when I saw he posted on Twitter, I was like a super sleuth investigator, like trying to piece together breadcrumbs of what happened last night. So it became like this whodunit. So I started messaging him like, did I fall? He's like, yeah. I was like, I knew
Case
it.
closed.
I knew it. And also, which one of you cowards peed in my pants last night?
Oh, I'm laughing so much because I'm so much more excited for today's drive than yesterday's drive.
Oh yeah, I'm back in my puke throne. I remember I puked all over myself in here. Not on purpose though, it's because the bag had a hole in it.
The other times were on purpose.
Yeah, that one.
It was a good first 2 hours because you passed out. I was like, this is actually going smooth. 6.5 hours, we're crushing it. And then the next middle 4 were like hell on earth.
Yeah.
We had to keep persuading you not to go to a hospital in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia.
That's where the experts are, though.
True.
They had an anti-drunk potion they were ready to give me. You deprived me of it.
Yeah, it's called
Yeah.
moonshine.
So weird, my doctor only is wearing overalls. Yeah, it was good though.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was a bonding experience.
No, I think it brought us all much closer.
Yep.
So that's definitely the lowest I've ever been around human beings. At least you get that. At least when you had your alcohol meltdown, you were in the comfort of your own house.
That's true. I was in my bathtub, curled up in a ball. I
rental
honestly do not envy you having to do that in a car ride for 6.5 hours. That
Yeah.
sounds miserable. But yeah, at one point, Charlie embraced me in the nicest hug he's ever given me and cried into my chest. And at that moment, we became
I was
brothers.
crying because I was just having so much fun.
Like, Matt, thank you.
I was like, can we drive farther, please?
Why are we stopping?
Yeah, so that pretty much closes the book on that whole adventure. I am pretty sure I fell, though no one seems to know when or if I hit my head. But, like, the side of my head, like the back side of my head, was hurting a lot. Still does hurt now. But there's, like, no noticeable bump or anything. So it's also maybe because I had my hair up in a bun, which I never fucking do. And I had it up there the entire time I was drunk. So, like, fucking 24 hours, basically. So there is a good chance that it was just yanking on my hair for a while, and now it's just kind of irritated. Hopefully that's all it is. Also, if the hotel staff is watching, I am so sorry. I feel awful for it. I tried to clean up the puke, but it was just not coming up easily. It really did look like something out of like CSI Miami crime scene or something. I did try though, and I am very sorry about that. But yeah, I wanted to share this story because maybe this can be a good lesson to not drink like I did, and also this is a very public promise that I won't drink like that ever fucking again. It was so bad. That's really about it. So yeah. I've mentioned this on stream a few times over the years. Back in college, my friends and I used to go to a bowling alley for happy hour and just get absolutely sloppy and bowl. It's just a primitive joy. And somehow, I guess the alcohol unlocked 100% of my brain power. It was like the pill from Limitless, and I just was nasty at bowling. I would occasionally go over 200, and I kind of retired from it, hung up the old bowling shoes back in like 2014. So it's been about a decade since I've been absent from the sanctuary, but the lanes still beckon me. I can still hear them crying out for my return. And I finally answered the call yesterday. I went on a date, and bowling was the activity that was chosen. And I don't think she knew exactly what kind of ancient evil she was unleashing on those lanes. For the first couple games, I goofed around a little bit, but on the last game, I decided to dust off the cobwebs, shake off the rust, and I awakened a demon that had been slumbering for a while. And this was the result. I showed absolutely no mercy. It was cutthroat. I was shitting on her like I had a scat fetish. I'm sure I ruined the date, but man, I gained something far more valuable. A bowling talent, the likes of which the world had never seen. But unfortunately, it hit midnight right after I got that strike, and they shut down the bowling alley mid-game, shut it off, took it offline, and I couldn't finish it, which I thought was just downright sinful, and it actually kept me awake last night. So I went bowling today just to get back out there and see if I could do it, and I can fucking do it. The first couple games, I was just getting a feel for her, trying to figure out her oil patterns and get to know her, and the ball wasn't catching the way I'd usually like it to with my spin. So I decided instead of going for a really outrageous spin like I've been known for, I instead went for more power and less spin. And I of course always grab the heaviest ball here, so that way I throw like a fucking grenade down there so the pins just explode and give me the best chance of a strike. I got over 200 a couple times, but nothing I was super proud of, so this one's 5 strikes in a row to close out at 200 even. Also, filming in public is so shameful for me, but I knew if I was just taking pictures no one would believe me, because no one ever does when I talk about it on the stream, so I had to set this shit up by putting it in my shoe and putting it on a chair and hoping nobody saw this embarrassment from me. And the angle is abominable. I look like Sasquatch, but with the flattest ass of all time. My sweatpants make it look like I'm wearing a diaper. But anyway, the 200, 5 strikes to close it out. It's not bad, but I wasn't super thrilled about it either. I knew I had it in me to do better. So I channeled my inner Pete Weber. I said, damn it, right? Who do you think you are? I am! And I put together this masterpiece. Showcasing proper bowling etiquette, letting the people around me go first, waiting for my opportunity to strike. Once the coast was clear, it was go time. And bingo, bango, bongo, a beautiful strike. A heat-seeking missile, blasting the pins, showing them who the boss is, kicking this off in the right way. Frame number 2, same song and dance, you know how this story goes. Right down the pipe like a skilled surgeon, bang. Another strike. Frame number 3 for that sacred turkey, easy. Not even a challenge for the master here. Textbook technique, executed flawlessly per usual. In an absolute flow state, the quad, yep, that was guaranteed. Mom, get the camera, I'm gaming. I now notice the camera's not really doing justice to the speed at which I'm throwing that lumber down there. The velocity on this shit has to be Mach 3. The only thing this camera's able to catch is the bowling ball's after image, because I am absolutely launching it like a railgun down the lane. I'm averaging over 15 miles per hour per toss here. I'd usually like to get a little bit higher than that, but I was getting a little fatigued, I'll go ahead and admit it. Now, here comes the pin to kill. Does he have it in him? Does he? Well, yeah, he does. Just like the Writers Guild, I'm going on strike. 5 in a row, we're already off to a great start here. In fact, the best start you can have. It's the perfect game right now. I don't believe in human emotions, so I wasn't feeling any nerves whatsoever. The 6th frame, also known as the hardest frame in bowling, unfortunately, my Achilles heel. I got a bit of a bad run up there, lost my balance, and ended up missing it. The ball just kind of squeaked out of my hands a little early there from a bad run up, so it happens, is what it is. Even the best bowlers in the world have something like that happen from time to time. But when it comes to spares, I usually don't miss these. I am an absolute monster when it comes to picking these up, so that one was in the books the second it left my hand. So we're still cooking up a wonderful stew here, a beautiful dish. On the 7th frame, I come back outside your window with a boombox in hand playing your favorite song. It's the one where I get the strike. So that was back to business, so we're right back on the saddle again. We had a bit of a hiccup there with that 9, but I got the spare, so we're still in good shape. Frame 8, I heard someone make a wish upon a shooting star that I'd get the back-to-back once again, so I did. Another double, because what else am I gonna do up there? I'm in my element right now. It's still looking like I can squeak out an incredible game, and I am. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the spoilers right now. I crank out the best game I've ever bowled. And this is, again, after a decade's worth of rust and grime build-up here. So now we're on the 9th frame, and it's looking pretty good. That's exactly where I want it to be, but tragedy strikes, unfortunately. That little bastard over there, that was the worst pin to survive my onslaught because since I don't bowl that often, I don't practice picking this up anymore. I used to be really good at this wacky spin you're going to see me do right here. Like 9 times out of 10, I was automatic with that shit, but unfortunately here, I miss it by a fucking millimeter. I manscaped it. I shaved it on the way by. I gave it a little kiss, a little smooch, but it wasn't enough to knock it over. So, an empty frame, which is a bowler's greatest shame. So, I still had a chance to turkey out and get an incredible score. It's another beautiful bowl. But again, tragedy strikes once again, lightning in the same place. You hate to see it. Another 9, but this time it's in a position where I don't miss these. I think I could do this with my eyes closed and thumb up my ass. So, easily pick up this spare, no sweat about it. And I just wanted to at least close it out with a strike because it deserved it. This game deserved to be at least finished with a strike. 3 9s is a heartbreaker because those could have easily been strikes. They were so close to being strikes as well. It's just a real shame. So here's last bowl of my amazing game. It looks great, right where you want it. I got excited, and then once again, another 9. 3 9s to close it out for a 235. 235 is the best game I've ever bowled, but it's kind of bittersweet because I got 4 9s there that were really, really close to just being strikes because it was pretty much exactly where I wanted it, except for the one run-up that was a little off and it had the bowling ball slip out a bit. But the other 3 could have absolutely been strikes. They were surgical. And it's just a shame that it just wasn't today. Today, I just wasn't fully him. I was partially him. I was a piece of it. I was he, but not him. Next time, though, I got a good feeling about a perfect game. This shows I can do it. Like, I really feel as though I can do it. And I'm using house balls, by the way. Like, this isn't custom bowling balls or anything that I'm bringing here. I'm just using the standard old house balls. And I feel like if I did get a custom ball, it'd probably be a little bit more smooth for me. But it's not that big of a deal to me. I'm not trying to go pro with it or anything. Though I might be looking at some recruitment offers after this showcase here. It's just, man, I know I can get that perfect game. And I wanted to stay a little bit longer and keep bowling, but I also didn't really want to just like peter out. I kind of wanted to finish on top just because I'd already done 6 games, like I was starting to get a little worn out. So next time I get out there in the Crucible, I really think I put together a 300. So just wanted to show this off because a lot of people always doubt me when I say that I used to be really good at bowling. I'm still good at bowling, and I was then too, and somehow I'm even better now. I have found fucking 5th gear here. I'm really leveling up now. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.